I mean, again, he doesn't know who Gabriel is, right? Because he didn't come from an Abrahamic faith. The people of Mecca were pagan.
Quran is mentioned, if this book was from other than God, they would have found in it many contradictions.
If a book is without contradictions, that has no bearing on whether it comes from God or not. I've had phone books that are inerrant, but I certainly don't think God gave them.
That we believe without understanding.
The brother asked a very important question, that most of the scholars say that listening to music, watching movies, and most of the television programs, they're haram. So how can we have fun? Let me tell you, brother, at the outset, that having fun is permitted in Islam as long as the fun is halal fun.
That the standard narrative has holes in it.
The Prophet tells us because Satan or the devil sleeps over our nostrils. Those who oversleep and not pray Fajr on time, Satan urinates in their ears.
I really do think Jesus was crucified and that he really was dead and buried. He thought that he was a son of God in the sense that he was specially chosen by God. I think Jesus really did think he was going to be the Messiah, the future king of Israel. I mean, that is, after all, why they crucified him.
All right, hello everyone, and peace of the Lord to all of you. I hope my voice coming good and clear. Please invite your friends. And today we are going to discuss something very funny. And by the way, as usual, I will open my Skype. So if you are a Mohammedan and you like to join us, please feel free. We welcome all Mohammedans. It doesn't matter how much knowledgeable they are. For sure, the more knowledge you have, the better we would like to have you, especially if you are a sheikh, but usually the sheikhs don't dare to call because they will lose their career in case they have one. Look like we have a Muslim. He tried to call me. Let us see already. All right. Let me know, guys, if the sound from Skype is coming good. I will switch the ring speaker down a little bit so you guys don't bother with the sound. He's not answering. Okay, he's not answering. I'm trying to adjust the volume here. It make little noise when I move it. So I don't know. This Muslim, he texted me. Actually, he tried to call me. Few minutes ago. So we will call him back again and see. So the topic today is about the preserved words of Allah. Oh. He is calling. Hello?
Yes, hello, Christian Prince.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Are you?
I want to apologize, I'm not Muslim.
Oh,
I'm an ex-Muslim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just had a couple questions. First, are you planning to translate your books into Russian?
My book is already in Russian. You can get it from... there is a website, you can download from there. I have Deception of Allah already in Russian.
Oh, okay. What website it is? It's not Amazon, right?
No, actually, I think you can, I don't know, do you live in Russia?
No, I live in the United States, but my parents live in Russia, and I really like the book, and I want to have
this book I give it for free, actually. So you can search, maybe somebody can give you the link, and you can download it for free. I give it as a gift for me, for those who speak Russian.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. And then the second question, I see you translate Quran online, I mean live. And a lot of words that like in the Arabic, people translate into English or Russian, it's a wrong translation. So I was wondering, like, there's what is the closest to the truth translation, you know? What is the most accurate translation
I don't see
that I can find online?
Yeah. First, let me see. People, they are saying that your audio is not strong. I hear you very well, but they are saying they don't hear you very well. So let me see why they are saying that. Give me a minute, please.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, noise cancellation. And the speaker is all the way to the end. So, I don't know, guys, you don't hear him very well. Yeah. Can you speak, please? Can you talk?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Do you guys hear me?
Yeah, I hear you very well. I don't know why they are saying they don't hear you good. Okay. Let me see if there is a way to fix that.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, because I want them to hear you, actually.
All right.
Let us see. Is his voice better now, guys? Okay. So yeah, so you can get my book in Russian. Let us see if you let us see if anyone of that in the chat can post the link for you, so you can download the book.
That would be great.
Yeah, it's for free for sure. You know, because I gave it for free.
I appreciate it.
I do not know how to say.
Books on Amazon too.
Yeah, no, those are not on Amazon. They are. You know, they are for free, so they are not on Amazon. Amazon, they don't give free books, you know, and Amazon don't even publish Russian books, actually.
Yes, I didn't find.
Yeah.
But also, I want to thank you for all things you do. When I was Muslim, and it was just a act of the faith only, not mind, not through the brain.
Mm-hmm.
But once I started listening to you and Sam Shaman, David Booth, I was like, wow. How right was my decision before, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't know what kind of cult was that Islam, you know, before.
Somebody just posted already the link for the Russian book. You can download for free. It's a PDF file.
Okay. It's on the Rumble, right?
It's in the chat in Rumble, yes. So go there and download it. And don't forget to share it with your friends who speak Russian too, please.
Definitely. That's
all right.
That's number one for me.
And we hope we have soon. You know, we hope soon we will be able to have, sex and Allah in Russian too, and I will give it for free too.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Take care. Bye bye.
I wish you good luck.
Thank you. Happy that you left Islam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye. All right. So today our topic is about the preservation of the Quran. There is here a short video of this Abdul, the one we scared the hell of him, you remember? We went to his channel a few days ago, and I challenged him to let me call him, and the coward, he asked the admin to ban us and to block us. This is how small they are. They claim that they have knowledge. But when you listen to what those people they say, you die laughing. Listen carefully.
The hadith is not preserved in the same way that the Quran was preserved.
Every hadith, you would find that they would have something called a chain of narrations. Now, coming to the strong hadith, there's a criteria for us. What happens is in that chain of narration, every individual in the chain has to be a trustworthy, honest person. What someone who's a liar, he's known in the community as a liar. Someone is a trustworthy individual. People already know this person is a trustworthy individual. Secondly, they need to have good memory, strong memory. They used to make tests all the time. You go to the person, they test him, they give him different chains of narration, they mix them together, and they see. If he says, no, this is not from me, this is wrong, and they know that person still has a correct, strong memory. So a person who died at the year 100 and a person who was born at the year 200, he cannot be saying, I heard from him, because he died 100.
And look how he debunked himself, the idiot, because the hadith collected more than 200 years after Muhammad. So how you can chase the chain of narration if all the one who before they pass away already and they are bones? This is how stupid this religion is. Same time he said, we don't accept a hadith from someone. He is very well known to be a liar in the community. Those liars, they accept the Quran from Hafs. Hafs is very well known to be a liar. So they reject his hadith, they accept his the Quran, and they don't have a Quran. They have a Quran collected from Hafs 200 years after Muhammad. So today we are going to discuss the preserved word of Allah. Here we have a video, actually I just searched now before I start. This is Mohammed Hijab is going to discuss about the preservation of the Quran with this Muhammadan. So both of them, they are Muhammadan Abdul, following Muhammad the Fool. And now they are going to discuss Can we follow Islam by following Hadith only or Quran only?
Okay. How are you?
Yeah, I've been watching your stuff.
So what's your name?
My name is Shihab.
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, so I've been a Sunni all my life.
Yes.
Then last 4 years, I've been reading Quran for myself.
Yes.
And I've come to my understanding that.
Can you raise your voice a bit?
Our salvation is only Quran only.
Okay, so you don't believe in the
That is
Hadith?
the last revelation. No, because Allah is against the Hadith.
Okay.
And you know that.
Okay.
Because
Well,
you know Arabic.
that's the discussion.
You
we're
read
gonna...
Arabic, man. You know what I'm saying? You should know.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
I'm very fascinated by your belief. I'm interested, and I want to just probe, the brother in some questions. Which qira'ah of the Quran do you read?
There's only one qira'ah. Arabic clear. There is no.
No. But what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
No, hold on.
Yes.
Because what you're saying is not a factual statement, right? So
how is it not a factual statement?
Let me explain. Because we know that there are centers of Islamic power, and generally speaking, there are places where people read. For example, Hafs and Asim, right? Hafs and Asim, okay, no problem. Which is usually like the majority of the qira'ah, and some other places like Warsh and Nafi'. Wait, hold on. So, for example, when you read Surah Al-Fatiha, how do you read Malik Yawmiddin? Do you read it like that? Malik Yawmiddin?
Let's not get into that.
No, I'm asking a question.
Very important.
No, this is very important.
Let's stick to one subject.
No, this is the subject. I'm just asking a question. Do you say Malik Yawmiddin or Malik Yawmiddin?
Well, wherever the Quran says.
Okay, the Quran says Malik Yawmiddin and Malik Yawmiddin. Which one do you accept?
Well, wherever the truth is, brother. Wherever the Quran says.
You said your Quran only, but you don't know the Quran?
No. I don't know Arabic. I'm not an Arab.
So, okay. Right? But Fatiha, everyone knows.
I get mine. Not everyone knows Fatiha, but they don't understand what the Fatiha is.
Here you see the stupidity of this religion. Why Allah in one place he says something, in the other place he say what the point? So guys, which reading you read? Which one? So Allah, when he gave Muhammad the Quran, he gave him the Quran, even the chapter of Al-Fatiha. You recite the word differently. Why? I mean, what is the mystery about that? Does it make any difference? Listen carefully, guys. This guy now, Mohammed Hijab, he want to prove this guy that he is ignorant. So what he says to him, which one you accept? And I ask the Muslims, what kind of religion? Your God, he say the same chapter, which is few words anyway, funny to call it chapter, in 7 ways. In fact, there is some, they say there's more than 500 reading for the Quran, which means there is more than 500 Quran.
Yawmiddin. Do you read it like that? Malik Yawmiddin.
Let's not get into that.
No, I'm asking a question.
Very important.
No, this is very important.
Let's stick to one subject.
No, this is the subject. I'm just asking a question. Do you say Malik Yawmiddin or Malik Yawmiddin?
Well, wherever the Quran says.
Okay, the Quran says Malik Yawmiddin and Malik Yawmiddin. Which one do you accept?
Well, wherever the truth is.
No. You said your Quran only, but you don't know the Quran?
No. I don't know Arabic. I'm not an Arab.
So, okay. Right? But Fatiha, everyone knows.
I get mine. Not everyone knows Fatiha, but they don't understand what the Fatiha is.
Okay, well, tell me, when you read Surah Al-Fatiha for me, please.
No, I don't need to read.
No,
okay. No, I don't see the Fatiha.
Okay, fine. How do you say verse number 3, or is it number 4? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Am I reciting? Wait, please. Let me read it for you. Okay, fine. Tell me if I'm doing it right or wrong. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in, Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim, ghayril maghdubi alayhim walad-dallin. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, let me do it one more time. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in, Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim, ghayril maghdubi alayhim walad-dallin. Yeah? Is that correct?
So now, but what's your point? Is that gonna be any beneficial to someone who doesn't understand that?
No, I'm asking. You said the first one was right. Is the second one right?
Huh? I'm saying that.
You know, this supposedly now Mohammed Hijab is trying to show him that he has skills in the Arabic Quran. Which one is the right one? The guy, he don't speak Arabic. He will not even notice the difference between what you said in the beginning and the second one. You are just an idiot. This is how silly. The guy is debating you about he don't believe in the hadith. And then you are saying to him, which one is better for you?
no relevant to someone who doesn't know Arabic.
No, but the first one was right, yeah?
Whichever one, I'm saying.
No, but there was a difference between one and two.
All of it. No, forget the Malik.
Malik wa Malaka wa Malik wa what a stupid religion.
All of it. There's no point in.
I'm not going to forget the Malik because it's Quran. You said your Quran alone, so you should respect the Quran.
Yeah, I do respect it.
Yeah, fine. So is it Malik or is it?
If you understand the message.
No problem. Well, I'm asking you. What's the difference between Malik and Malik?
I don't know. You tell me.
All right. So
guys, listen to this carefully. This is very important. Listen carefully.
I know this. Yeah, Malik.
Fine. Malik means owner. Malik means king. Yeah.
Yeah, he's both.
So okay, fine. So you accept both qira'as?
No, but I'm saying that the meaning comes in both.
No, do you accept? Do you accept one qira'ah or two qira'as?
No, I accept only one qira'ah.
Okay, so which one is wrong? Because if you expect, hold on. If you please,
Mohammed Hijab, I respect you, yeah.
Thank you, but I'm just asking a simple question.
See, guys, even the Muslim don't even accept the Quran. Did you notice what this guy he said? He accept only one. The other one he don't accept. So how we can say the Quran is preserved? In the same time, do we even have all the reading of the Quran? Later we will go into proofs and reference to show you. Let me see, somebody is trying to contact me. I hope it's a Muslim. Look like it. Let us see. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
I do hear you. Yes, Mr. Ahmed.
Okay. Yeah.
So you are a Muslim?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
All right. What do you think about our topic? You know, the Muslim, they claim that some Muslims, they reject the Hadith. Some Muslims even reject the Quran. Some Muslims, they say the only thing is preserved is the Quran. So what is your idea about what is preserved, what is not?
Yeah, that is biblical, because if you go to the New Testament, you can see at the time of Jesus there were two groups of Jews. One was Pharisee, one was Sadducee.
I don't understand. I don't understand. Say again.
Okay. So in the New Testament, if you see the story of Jesus, at the time of Jesus, there were two groups of Jews. One type is the Sadducees. They believe in only the Bible.
There's one type. There's two book of John.
Do you know who is Pharisee and Sadducee?
I know what?
Pharisee and Sadducee.
I don't understand what. I know. I never heard what. Pharisee and what?
Sadducee. Let me type it. Okay. Let me type it. So
okay.
Where shall I type it? Okay. Pharisee and Sadducee. Can you see?
Pharisees and Sadducees. Okay. And
so the Pharisee people, they believe in oral tradition and the Bible, Tanakh. The Sadducees, they believe only in Tanakh. Right?
And no, hold on. You see, you are mixing things up. You know, first of all, I'm not a Jew. Secondly, if hold on, my friend, hold on. Same time, the Jews, they have the Torah, and the Jews, they have the Talmud, correct?
No. The Jews, they have the Torah only, and Jews, they have the Talmud and the Torah.
No. Right? The Jews, they have, the Talmud, there's many Talmud, not only one. However, the Talmud, all the Jews agree, the Talmud is not the word of God, is the word of the Rabbi. I am asking you about your God now. Your God and your prophet. So what the Muslim they do, they try to jump and blame the Jews. Let us say the Jews, those are wrong, and those Jews are corrupt, and those Jews, Jesus even called them murderer, they called them, those Pharisees, he called them hypocrite, they call them all kinds of names. So why you jump and you compare yourself to someone who is a corrupt when you want to prove to me something about your religion?
No, Jesus said, the Pharisee, they are sitting in the right hand of Jesus.
Listen. I'm asking you, what is the connection? What is the connection between me asking you a question, why you Muslim reject the Quran or reject the Hadith, and then you go to the Pharisees? What is your connection with the Pharisees?
I'm telling the idea of these things, or Quran only Muslims, and the people who are rejecting Hadith, these type of things existed in the Bible also.
No, it's not. It's not exist in the Bible. For us, you see, either you accept the word of God or you are not. You are not a follower of God. So if somebody want to say, I can find you now a Christian, he says he don't accept the Bible. So what? He's not a Christian. But so for us, the one who don't accept the Bible is no Christian. For you. You Muslims, you claim to be Muslim, you claim that the word of God is preserved, and then each one of you have different definition for the religion. Each one of you, even your prophet, okay, let's talk. Is your prophet a believer or not?
He's a believer. So what's the doubt in that?
What is the proof that your prophet is a believer?
So what kind of question is? He's the one.
No, I'm asking you, what is the proof that your prophet is a believer? This is a very serious question. This is a very serious question.
Okay, can you prove it? I don't know how to answer that one. So
how come you cannot answer? This is your prophet. I mean, if you cannot prove to me that your prophet is a believer, so who is the believer in Islam then?
Are you asking he's a prophet? He's a prophet or believer?
No, a believer first, because in order to be a prophet of God, you have to believe in that God first, correct?
Yeah,
all right.
He believes in one God. He
okay, Muhammad, let us see if Muhammad believes in one God. Isn't it true that Muhammad, he asked the Muslims to ask for intercession for the 3 daughters of Allah?
No.
What do you mean no?
That was inauthentic.
What do you mean no?
That was inauthentic. That is in Ibn Sham. That is not in Hadith.
This is what?
That is in history book.
So now you see right away we jump to the topic. So now guys, he denied the Hadith. Did you hear it? A second ago we were asking you.
On Hadith.
Huh?
No, so see, that is not in Hadith. That is in history.
No,
so
this is in Hadith. This is not true. This is in Hadith and this is in the Quran.
No.
Are you sure? Are you sure this is not in the Quran?
No.
Okay. Do you have your Quran with you?
Yeah, I can open. Yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Open. Read for me. Chapter 22, verse number 52.
22 verse number
52.
Okay. Okay, it says the Satan would influence the prophet.
You said to me a second ago, my friend, you said to me that this does not exist. You said this is in the history. It's not even in the Hadith. It turned to be, it's in the Quran.
No, this one is not talking about that incident. This is the general statement.
Hold on. You see, when I asked you the question, I was talking about different incident. So how come you deny it a second ago? I said to you, you're a prophet. He receives satanic verses. So how he can be a believer? You said this is not in the Hadith. This is in history books. You said to me, everybody heard you, my friend. Everybody heard you saying this is not in the Hadith. This is not even in the Hadith. This is in a history book. But now you agreed that this is a certain incident in the Quran, correct?
This is talking about not only prophet. This is talking about the prophet.
No, he's talking specifically. No, he's talking specifically about the prophet.
No, let me. Yeah, CP. Let me tell. Then you can explain. Okay. Then you can refute. Okay. Let me finish my statement. Okay.
All right.
So this verse talking about the prophet Muhammad and also other prophets. He's telling whenever we send a messenger. Whenever we send a messenger, means it's talking about all the prophets. So it is telling whenever we send a messenger, they were influenced by the Satan, but God helped them. Like your Jesus, he was tempted by devil for 40 days. Don't you know?
No, hold on. There's a huge difference. Hold on. When you say the word tempted, we have the story. When Satan, he says to him, if you are a son of God, throw yourself. Jesus says to him, it says, it's written, don't try your Lord. So when you say tempted, this is a statement of what Satan tried to do, but Jesus never fell into temptation. This is what Satan tried. But in here, you're a prophet, he became a messenger of the shaitan. He spoke the word of shaitan. No. Yes. So hold on. No, okay. Does it say that Allah will delete what shaitan he throw in Muhammad mouth?
No, I'm telling you, this is not talking about not only Prophet.
No, it's talking specifically about Muhammad. Listen, this is an excuse. So he said, not only me, all the Prophet, but there's no proof of that. Okay, give me the story where Musa's Shaitan, he gave him satanic verses. Give me the story where Shaitan gave Isa satanic verses. Give me the story when Abraham received satanic verses. You will find none. This is a joke. So this is the story about Muhammad only. He was praying, and the infidel, the pagan like him, they were praying with him. And then he said, just to make them happy, that the three daughters of Allah, their intercession is a must. And he bowed down, and they bowed down with him.
Okay. Let's go through the verse. Okay, this verse is telling, whenever, let me read it out. Okay, whenever we send a messenger or a prophet, and he recites our revelation, Satan would influence people understanding. So he is not influencing the prophet; he is influencing the people's understanding.
Okay, can we read? Can we read the interpretation to see if I am lying or maybe you are lying? Can we do that? Interpretation, the Muslim scholars. Is that okay?
Okay.
All right. So guys, we go to the interpretation, chapter 22, verse number 52. Here we go. This is 22 and this is 52. Do you see my screen?
Okay.
Here it says, read with me carefully, and this is Tafsir al-Jalalain. This is not a Christian prince. This is not a guy in YouTube. This is the scholars. It says here that when Muhammad was reciting to the assembly of Quraysh, after reciting following verse, Surah An-Najm, have you considered Allat, Al-Uzza, and Manat, the third one, chapter 53, chapter 53, verse 19, 20, added as a result of Shaitan casting into his tongue without the prophet being aware of the following words. These are the high-flying crans, all the Al-Gharaniq, and indeed their intercession to be honored or to be hoped for. Do you see it? So Shaitan, he throw in the mouth of Muhammad satanic verses, and then according to the story, Jibreel, he came a few weeks after, and he told Muhammad, I did not give you this. This is from Shaitan.
No. The story says Satan spoke. So people thought that was the prophet.
No, read it. Don't make things up. It's in front of you. Read it.
No.
Read it. Read it.
I cannot see it. I don't know why.
No problem. I will give you the link if you want.
Okay.
All right. So you can open it in your side. I will post it in the Rambo. You can open it from there. It says here, so it cast Satan, as a result, Satan cast them into his tongue. The tongue of who? The tongue of your prophet, my friend. Don't make things up.
So in this verse, Satan is the one who spoke the word.
No. Shaitan, he cast words into the tongue of Muhammad.
Okay, let me go to another tafsir. Okay, so this is unclear. Let me go to some tafsir. What's the verse? Oh, sorry. It is verse Surah 52. Okay, right? 22, 52. Okay. 22. Okay. So this is the case. You talk about Muhammad. You never talk about Jesus. Okay.
What about Jesus? Why is Shaitan? He gave Jesus satanic verses?
No, he was influenced by.
No, he wasn't influenced. That is false. Jesus fasted for 40 days and Satan could not influence him for a second. What are you talking about? And he defeated him. But here we see that you're a prophet. You're a prophet. According to your Quran, he received satanic verses. Even the Quran says Allah will delete what he throw in your umniya, in your tongue. The Quran says that.
Yes, delete. No.
So Allah will delete what? Allah will delete from the Quran.
Where it is mentioned. It is not there.
It's in front of you. It says, فَيَنْسَخُ اللَّهُ مَا يُلْقِي الشَّيْطَانُ ثُمَّ. Don't you see it? يَنْسَخُ. Nasakh means to delete, to erase what is in the Quran. So Allah will erase from the Quran what Shaitan he gave to Muhammad. And the story in front of you, and still you deny it. It says in front of you, as a result, Satan cast them into his tongue. The tongue of who? The tongue of Muhammad. So Muhammad in his tongue, he spoke those words. Indeed, it's in front of you. How you can deny it?
No, man. If I am speaking to you, if I cast something onto your mouth, mean he spoke like Muhammad.
No. Hold on. No, you see, you're lying now. Show me where it says he spoke like Muhammad. Guys, does it say in front of our eyes? It says, as a result, Satan casting them into his tongue. The word his tongue of who?
Let me give another topic.
When I say, when here the story says into his tongue, that his tongue of who?
Well, if something cast onto his tongue mean, it is a metaphor. If I cast on something to your tongue, that doesn't mean I am influencing. That means I'm talking.
What do you mean? Muhammad tongue is the one who said those words. Yes or no?
Well, if he says something, how we say without him knowing? Look at it says.
This is your excuse. Thank you very much, guys. Did you hear what he just said? How you can cast something to his tongue without him being knowing? That means Muhammad is Satan, because no way Muhammad do not know what he is saying. No way. And we as a Christian, we don't believe in this garbage. It's you Muslims who try to say without him knowing, because Muhammad later, after people heard what he said and what he did, they start saying, oh, this guy is a liar. In the front of us, he say he believe in Allah only. In the front of them, he say he believe in the 3 doors of Allah, and people just start leaving Islam. So now Muhammad want to make himself clean from what he did, so he said, oh, he put it in my tongue without knowing. But you just said, and I agree with you, you just said, everybody heard you, and I agree, my friend, I agree with you, 100%. There is no way Muhammad, he will say something with his tongue and he is not aware of what he's saying.
Yeah, okay, CP, okay. I told you I will show some evidence. So let me go to the Ibn Qadhi. Ibn Qadhi says, okay, this is what he said.
Who said what?
Shaitan, okay, this is the tafsir of Ibn Kathir, okay?
Okay, hold on, guys. He will go to Ibn Kathir. Shall we go to Ibn Kathir? Do you like to go to Ibn Kathir? All right. Give me a second. Where is Ibn Kathir? Ibn Kathir. All right, Tafsir Ibn Kathir. Here we go.
Okay, go.
Are you ready?
This is the case. You don't understand the language.
All right. Okay, all right. Let's go to Ibn Kathir. Let's see Ibn Kathir. Okay, do you have the page open, Ibn Kathir, for you? Start reading.
Okay, let me paste it in the chat. Okay, then I can read it. Okay. Maybe you sometimes you don't understand my.
No, I have it. I will open it for them so they can see. Go ahead.
So here it says that Satan threw some falsehood in it.
Where? In it where?
Well, Muhammad is talking, Prophet is talking, Satan talk at the same time. So people hear the Satan talking, but people thought that was Muhammad. So
Ibn Kathir saying that?
Yeah, Ibn Kathir saying.
Where it says, okay, no, I want you to show me where Ibn Kathir said that Shaitan, he spoke, they thought Muhammad is talking. Can you show me where?
Yeah, he said Satan threw some falsehood in it. So then Prophet Muhammad speaking, Satan threw something, he talked something. So people thought that was Muhammad talking.
No, where it says what you are saying, why you are making things up? Where it says people thought, where you get this from? I'm asking you, please. When you say Ibn Kathir said, I want to see where Ibn Kathir said that. What you are saying now is absolutely false. Can you show me in the page, listen, can you show me in the page where it says that Shaitan, he spoke, they thought that the Prophet spoke? Where you can find that?
Well, in the passage itself, it shows Satan threw. It didn't say
Shaitan throw where? Shaitan he throw where? It says in the Quran, umniyatahu, in his mouth. The Quran says that. So don't make things up.
Yeah, in his mouth mean Satan spoke.
Okay, hold on. Let us get you busted. This is Ibn Kathir in front of us. It says when he spoke, it says that it's referred to his recitation. And then he continues saying, means they speak, but they do not write. And then he said, tamanna, reciting the book of Allah, alqa shaytanu fi umniyatihi, in his recitation. So the recitation of Muhammad, shaitan, he throws some falsehood in Muhammad recitation. So the one who was reciting is Muhammad. It's in front of you. This is Ibn Kathir.
Man, it is telling he threw something in his recitation. That means it is the Satan reciting.
But shaitan, he controlled the mind of Muhammad. The one who spoke is only Muhammad.
No.
This is what it says. Okay, he throw in his recitation. How he throw it? Who is the one who's talking? Muhammad. His recitation. So Muhammad recitation is the one is heard. Shaitan, he throw the words in the mind of Muhammad. Muhammad recite the words, and this is what we are talking about. And then Shaitan, after he throw it, people, they said, Muhammad never praised our God as this before. So they bow down with him, and he bow down with them. That's what the hadith says. And then Allah will, this is why it says Allah will delete what Shaitan he throw in it. Shaitan throw in, read carefully. Allah cancel out which shaitan threw in. People don't take any voice, any word except Muhammad. Muhammad says that. And this is why now Allah is going to cancel what shaitan he throw in. Throw in where? In the mind and in the mouth of Muhammad.
So this is if you yourself admitted, okay? So here, Satan threw into his speech, not into his mind. So if it is
okay, hold on. Okay, guys. So Shaitan, he was able to enter Muhammad's speech. You just agreed with that. So Muhammad now is talking, but he is speaking for Shaitan. So Muhammad is a satanic messenger. If I speak for Satan, I am a satanic messenger.
Sorry, Satan through mean he is the one talking, but he is over talking Muhammad. That is the
no, nowhere it says that. You are a hypocrite. You are making things up. I can show you tons of interpretation, and it's implicated in front of you. And even the Quran says, "Fi umniyatihi, alqa fi umniyatihi." No messenger before you except he, Shaitan, he throw in his umniyatihi, not in he was talking alone. No, he throw it in his mind, in his control. So Shaitan, he control your prophet, and your prophet even he bowed down to the three doors of Allah. He bowed down. If we go here, let me show you. If we go here, this is the book, it's called Asbab al-Nuzul, which means the reason for the verses to come down. Are you with me? Did you hang up? Hello?
No.
All right.
I have hang up.
Okay. So, this is the book of Asbab al-Nuzul, and it's speaking about how Muhammad, he received the satanic verses. And when he mentioned the certain words in the chapter of An-Najm, Shaitan, he said, here, let us read together. The messenger of Allah, bless him and give him peace, recited. Do you see it? Who is the one who recited? Read with me. The messenger of Allah, bless him and give him peace, recited. But when he recited, or when he reached, have you put, when he reached, threw upon Allat, Al-Uzza, and Manat, the third and the others, the devil put in his tongue what had secretly wished and hoped for, and said, these are the mighty crowns, Al-Gharaniq, their intercession is hoped for. So Shaitan did not talk. He put in the mind of Muhammad satanic words, and now your prophet, he is receiving inspiration from Shaitan. So based on the Quran, your prophet is satanic messenger. And look what it says here. When Quraysh heard this, they were very pleased. The messenger of Allah, bless him and give him peace, cried on reciting until the end. He can continue of the surah, and then he prostrated. Imagine, guys, he just worshipped the three daughters of Allah, and all the people of Quraysh, they read very carefully. All the Muslims follow, sweet and prostrated, and all the idolaters who were present prostrated too. So Muhammad now and the pagan, all of them, and the Muslims in this moment, they are worshipping the three daughters of Allah, and the reference in front of you. Let me post it for everybody in the chat so they can see. And remember, you are the one who said to me in the beginning, Muhammad did not recite, it was Shaitan talking. So you lied to us, my friend. You lied.
No.
You lied. It says that Muhammad recited. When he recited, when he arrived to the point, he quoting the certain verse, he added, Muhammad, he added that the three daughters of Allah, Al-Gharaniq, their intercession is hoped for. And then he bowed down, and he bowed down with them. And all the pagan, they bowed down with Muhammad. It's in front of you.
No, it doesn't say he recited. He recited.
No, it says so. No. Not only this. Look, it says, my friend, it's in front of you. The people of Quraysh, when Quraysh heard this, heard what? Heard Muhammad praying. They were very pleased. The Messenger of Allah, bless him and give him peace, carried on reciting until the end of the surah, and then he prostrated. So he did not even, like nothing happened, and all the Muslims followed. And they prostrated with him, and idolaters, only one person, his name Ibn al-Mughira, he refused to bow down. Only one person. Read it. All the disbelievers, Muslims or disbeliever, prostrated except Al-Walid ibn al-Mughira. And the reason he did not, because he was very old, he cannot go down and bow down. So you Muslims pray like the pagan Arab. This is why you prostrate down. Do you see? Do you notice here that the pagan Arab and the Muslim, they pray in the same way? This is a pagan prayer, exists before Islam. They bow down, they prostrate for the false god Allah and his three daughters.
No, CP. It is
my friend, it's in front of you. Am I making things up?
So in this below passage, it says in Prophet was, he was reciting, Satan put those words. That means he was the one.
He put them in his tongue, right? Who is the one who's talking? Muhammad. Recitation of Muhammad. The whole recitation, people did not hear anyone. They hear only Muhammad.
It is if I put something on your tongue, that doesn't mean.
My friend, who is the one is reciting? Who is the one is reciting? Muhammad. What people they heard? Muhammad. What the story here saying? Muhammad, when he was saying, he said, Muhammad said that. And then Allah, he sent Jibreel, and he told him, it's not me who gave you those verses. And then the story claimed that there is the Shaitan, he come in the image of Jibreel, and he gave Muhammad the satanic verses. Is that correct?
So here what you are telling is, okay, CP, in this one is ambiguous. Okay, what you are telling is here Satan is the one put the words. It doesn't not put in his mind, put in his tongue.
Okay, how? Okay, so hold on. So you are saying to me that it is possible now that Shaitan, he is in control of the tongue of Muhammad. He say as he wish. Muhammad, he say what Shaitan want. How come Shaitan cannot put those words in my tongue? How come he cannot put it in your tongue? Muhammad is a prophet. Isn't it the Quran says that Allah protect him from jinn and mankind? So how Shaitan was able to do it?
Okay, here, no, okay. If I agree what you say according to this passage, this said, okay, according to your understanding, it says Prophet Muhammad was reciting, and Satan, he used to whisper something. Muhammad thought that was Gabriel. So this is your understanding. This is what you are telling.
This is not my understanding. This is not my understanding. This is your Muslim story. Why you are saying to me something very funny and very silly? Why? I was in the time of Muhammad. How I will know this? This is what your prophet said, that Shaitan, he came to Muhammad in the image of Jibreel. Shaitan, his name is Al-Abyad. And when he came to Muhammad, he came in the image of Jibreel, and he gave him satanic verses. So this is a pre-statement. Muhammad, he received already this a way ago, not only when he is there. Do you want me to show you the reference? Are you there? Do you want me to show you the reference? Here we go. This is at Tafsir al-Kabir, or we can go to Al-Qurtubi. You will see it says here that Shaitan, this is Ibn Abbas, the cousin of your prophet. This is not a joke. It says here, and it says here, this is not wrong. This is not batila. It says here, according to Ibn Abbas, reported by Ata, أن شيطانا يقال له الأبيض أتاه على صورة جبريل عليه السلام وألقى عليه الكلمة فقرأها فلما سمع المشركون ذلك أعجبهم. Let us translate. And then Jibril, he came to him and he asked him to recite for him. And he said, I did not give you this, Muhammad. So let me give you, here we go. I will give, do you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see.
All right. Do you know Arabic? You don't know Arabic, right?
I can read.
Okay, I will use Google Translation in front of your eyes. All right. Here, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay, let us see.
Google
Here it says.
It is not always accurate.
So what? What you said? What?
Google Translate. We cannot always rely upon.
What I will do. I mean, I do not need Google Translate. It's you.
Okay.
Don't complain. What I will do. I mean, okay. What I can do now? How I can serve you, my friend?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Here it says, let us see where the Jibril, he came to him.
Satan said on his tongue. Who said it? Satan said. So
No. Shaitan, he throw it. Shaitan, he throw it in his tongue.
See.
Okay.
Go up. It is there. Satan said in his tongue. So you can see that.
Wait. What? Hold on. Where were you? So what? Satan said on his tongue, the tongue of Muhammad. This is Google. It's you who said to me. You don't. The Google translation is so stupid. A second ago. So Satan said in his tongue, the tongue of Muhammad.
Yes, Satan said on his tongue.
In the tongue of Muhammad. So Shaitan, he spoke. Shaitan, he spoke to Muhammad. Muhammad, he spoke the word. Who is the one?
If I speak on your tongue.
Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on.
I'm speaking like you.
Okay, hold on.
If Satan said on his tongue means Satan speak like Muhammad. That's what it means.
No. Don't. No, here we go. Hold on. Let us see what Jibril did. Jibril, he came to Muhammad and he asked him to recite. Gabriel.
Okay.
Hold on. No. We have to prove what we say. We don't jump from place to place. Give me a second. Hold on. We have the reference in front of us, and I'm using Google Translation because you are ignorant in your religion. I mean, how you can pray to God in a language you don't know? So here it says, Gabriel, peace be upon him, came to him and said, what you have done. Do you see it? Gabriel, peace be upon him, came to him and he said to him, what you have done, Muhammad? He said, I recited to people what I did not tell you. You recited to people what I did not tell you at all about God. And said, I did not tell you. The messenger of Allah said to him, grant him peace, was deeply saddened and feared God with a great fear until the Almighty saying, revealed the verse. So why you lie and you say it is not Muhammad who is talking? Here we go. He said to him, what have you done? Who is talking? The angel. What he is saying, what you have done. What you have done? Muhammad, he recited satanic verses, and this is why Muhammad, he was fearing Allah for what he have done, not Shaitan done.
So here, okay, according to you, then Gabriel came, then he was saved. So then eventually he won. It is not there.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. Look at this. So the joke, the mockery is the following. Anyone can come to Muhammad and appear in the image of Jibreel and give him Quran. So how you Muslim, you claim that nobody can make Quran like the Quran? Here we go. You see your prophet himself receiving Quran from Shaitan, and he did not notice. And then a few weeks after, Jibreel came to him and said, what you have done? I did not tell you this.
Okay, anyhow, he was saved like Jesus. So see, Jesus did the same thing. He was 40 days under the control of Satan.
You are a big fat liar. You are a big fat liar. Nowhere in the story says that Shaitan controlling Jesus. It is the opposite. Jesus, he defeated him. And if you read the story carefully, you will see that Satan said to him, if you are do this, did Jesus do what he want? No. So how you say he controlled by Shaitan? Shame on you. Same time, hold on. We know the Bible, and you are a liar. Everybody can go there. Nowhere Shaitan is controlling Jesus. Shaitan, he tried. Okay, let me make it simple. Did Shaitan give Jesus command in his mouth?
Okay. No, about that, he took him to the mountain.
This is the story. He is showing him. No, took him to the mountain doesn't mean really they went to mountain. Shaitan, he have ability. Remember, this was an archangel. He is a very powerful. So here I will show you the whole world. Otherwise, the earth is a flat, my friend. So he took him, which means in the vision, he showed him everything. I will give you all of this. Did Jesus fail into him? No. So here you're a prophet. He is receiving satanic verses when he was a promise from his God that no genie and no human can do such a thing to him. And look what you are doing. Look what you are doing. In the beginning, you denied totally. In the beginning, you denied totally that it was Muhammad who recited this. You claim, you lie. Hold on, let me finish. You lied for the last 25 minutes that the one who was speaking is Shaitan. It turned to be no. It was his recitation. Read with me carefully. He came to him and recited. When he reached the Gharaniq, he said, I did not bring this to you. So Muhammad even recited it again. Even a few weeks after, Muhammad is still reciting the same stupid thing. Like, no, read it. Jibreel came to him. He asked him to recite the verses. He said to him, okay, Muhammad, recite the chapter of An-Najm. So when Muhammad recited, when he reached Al-Gharaniq, the word Al-Gharaniq, he said, I did not bring you this. So this is your prophet. Couple of weeks after, still he is reciting the Shaitan verses. Do you see it?
So this is so.
What's so?
Okay.
What's so? Listen, is it true that Shaitan, he gave Muhammad satanic verses? Now, do you admit that you were lying to me all this time? And no, Jibreel, he came to him, and even when Jibreel came to him long after, and even when Jibreel came to him, he said to Muhammad, hey, Muhammad, recite for me the chapter. Muhammad recited, and what the answer of Jibreel? He said to him, I did not give you this. So your prophet not only recited once by mistake, still he is reciting it non-stop, long after he did it first time. Even he recited the same words, worshipping and bowing down to the daughters of Allah. And Jibreel, he said to him, I did not give you this. And here you need to ask yourself a very simple question, guys. How this man Muhammad claimed that he believed in one God, and he is monotheist, and now a couple of weeks is gone, and still he is reciting a verse saying the intercession of the three daughters of Allah is a hope for. How will you do that?
Now, you don't answer. Jesus can be under control of Satan for 40 days. No, that's because your God is under control of Satan. And
you are making things up, and you are making things up. You are making things up. You are just stupid like the rest of the Muslims who drink camel urine. Nowhere it says that Shaitan controlling Jesus. Shaitan, he offered Jesus. Listen, Shaitan, he offered Jesus. Jesus, he rejected. The story is there, and you are a big fat liar like your prophet. Here we have you're a prophet. You're a prophet. You're a prophet. Yeah, we can open it, and you are a liar. Everybody is laughing at you. Shame on you to lie. Shame on you, Muslims. You Muslims have no shame. You Muslims have zero shame. Shame on you. You know what? You know what? I will open the verses. I want you to tell me right now where Jesus, he did the command of Shaitan. Give me the verse.
Okay, so here Jesus is Satan is.
Shut up! Don't give me a speech. Shut up and don't give me a speech. Give me the verse. Says here, Jesus he obeys Shaitan. Go ahead.
He not on. He was.
So you see how stupid you are. You don't dare to give me the verse because none of them say so. And now we have your prophet receiving satanic verses. You lied to me for the last 30 minutes, and now we have Jibril coming to him couple of weeks after, and this is still Muhammad. He is reciting the same satanic verses. And how come Muhammad did not notice that this cannot be from God when it is about worshipping the three daughters of Allah?
So this is the case. You never open the Bible. So
you are trying to change the topic, and it's a big failure. And now do you admit that you're a prophet? Even after he recited the verses tons of time, still he believed in the three daughters of Allah and he bowed down to them, as we showed you in the reference. Do you agree that Jibril came to Muhammad and he told him, recite the verse for me? This is long after the incident. Muhammad he recited exactly the satanic verses again, thinking this is supposedly from his God. And then Jibril said to him, I did not bring you this. Is that in front of you, or I'm making things up?
So that eventually he was saved. So eventually
so now we agree, me and you, that your prophet is a satanic prophet, because the one who received command from Shaitan and he gave word of God as satanic words, he is not a messenger of God, because there is no way a messenger of God he will speak for Satan. Let me ask you a question. Is it true that your prophet, he said that Shaitan commanded him to do good?
What?
Is it true that your prophet, he said that Shaitan commanded him to do good?
Maybe, yeah. I'm not sure about
guys,
it.
Guys, be my witness. Did you hear it?
That means,
okay, hold on, guys. Did you hear? Shaitan command Muhammad to do good. Did you hear it? He said maybe, yeah. So Shaitan, he command his prophet to do good. So who is Allah?
He's the creator.
Huh? What? If Muhammad receiving the good command, according to you Muslims, the good command coming from Shaitan, and you just admitted, you said yeah. So how Muhammad is a messenger of Allah if Shaitan is the one who's commanding him?
He doesn't say he's commanding everything. He's Satan. That means he commanding good mean.
Guys, did you hear this? Did you hear this? Did you hear this? No, hold on. Shaitan cannot command me. He cannot. I will never obey Shaitan. You just said that the good command is coming from Shaitan. So the bad command coming from who?
Bad command is coming from no one.
What do you mean no one? Hold on, guys. Shaitan, he gave Muhammad good command. Okay, if Shaitan, hold on, I will go with you. If Shaitan giving Muhammad the good command, is the satanic verses the good command you are talking about?
No.
What do you mean no? We just confirmed that Muhammad received command from the Shaitan and he spoke the words of Shaitan. And now you confirm to me again that Shaitan, he gave Muhammad good command. So the one who is in charge of Muhammad is Shaitan. The one who command me, my friend, the one who command you is your master. Do you agree?
No, this is the case. This is you are confused. First of all, you have confused what you are talking about, because according to our religion, each and every person has a shaitan. So this shaitan is something between each and every person. That shaitan is different. That which came to Muhammad, that's a different one. So
but this is the shaitan of Muhammad. He gave him satanic verses. No, the shaitan of Muhammad, he gave him satanic verses and it's in front of you.
So this is the case. So no, you never open the Bible. You lie. You never open the Bible. You cannot expose me. See, this is just stupid.
The Bible says you cannot serve two masters. Either you serve Shaitan or God. You Muslims, you just admit that your prophet master is Shaitan. Everybody heard you.
No.
Okay, explain to us. Explain to us what kind of command Shaitan he gave to Muhammad. Go ahead.
I do not know about it.
What do you mean you don't? What do you mean you do not? What do you mean you do not know about? You just told me Shaitan he command Muhammad, but you do not know about it. What Shaitan command to Muhammad? Give us an example.
Okay. Before show it to me. Show me how your God can be controlled by Satan for 40 days.
He could not. You see, this is why he fasted for 40 days, because simply no one can control him, and no Shaitan. You are lying. Hold on, don't lie. Listen. If Shaitan is if Shaitan is in, you're trying just to change the topic and the embarrassment of your false prophet, satanic prophet Muhammad. So Shaitan. Okay, I want you to say yes. I want you to say why I want to talk about my holy Bible when we are talking about the shitty Muhammad. I don't mix shit with holiness. Don't you see, this is a guy who go to his own son house and he have sex with the wife. This is a guy who have sex with the children. This is a guy who received command from Shaitan. This is a guy who promised you endless penis. So why in the world want to mix the holy word of God with the holy shit of Shaitan? Don't you see what kind of a person we're talking about? I mean, name one thing about your prophet is not messed up. Even Shaitan, he gave him command. Even Shaitan, he made him say false words. He bowed down to the three daughters of Allah. He hoped for their intercession. He kissed the black stone. He go around the stone. And he believed that the black stone is going to forgive sin. What is left about this man to be good? You tell me.
So this is the case. You never talk about the Bible. You never refute the Bible. If I say,
do you see? I refuted you. It is you who did not give me the verse where it says Jesus is controlled by Shaitan. You refuse. It is you, the potato. Nowhere it says that. Secondly, potato. Do you see the title of my topic? If my topic is about the Bible, then you can say, okay, the topic is about the Bible, and this guy refusing to talk about the Bible. But my topic is exposing the preserved word of the God of Islam, and you are trying your best to get away because simply Islam is an embarrassment, isn't it? This is the truth. Then don't escape. So now let us focus. How come Muhammad he received satanic verses, and he is speaking satanic verses, and he repeated them even when Gabriel came to him, and still Muhammad did not notice that this is from Shaitan? How come?
Muhammad is a prophet. Jesus is your God. If he can be tempted for 40 days, how about a man? He is a man.
Well, he can. Listen, you see, potato. Tempted does not mean he is tempted. It means Shaitan trying his best to tempt him. So there's no temptation happening. Shut up! Don't lie! Jesus never failed. Tempted. You see, I can say I've been tempted and I fail. If I can be tempted, but I never fail. So when Shaitan, tempted is what? Somebody offer me, let us say, a woman, she starts stripping in front of me, and she's trying to tempt me to go and sleep with her. If I refuse, this means this temptation fail. So she can try, but doesn't work with me. So Shaitan, Aka Muhammad, he went to Jesus, he tried to tempt him. He says to him, I offer you all of this. If you are a son of God, he throw yourself, do this. Jesus refused to do anything Shaitan he want. Do we agree that Jesus refused?
If Jesus had that one, if he proved to him he is a son of God, then the Satan would have been defeated.
See, hold on. When Shaitan, he asked him to do something to prove that he is a son of God. Jesus, he said to him, don't try your God. Don't try your God. So Jesus said to him, I'm your God, don't try me.
No, he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that. He do not tempt the Lord, he said. He's talking about the Father. He's not talking about himself.
No, and he said, I and the Father is one. And now you are trying to escape the embarrassment of Jibreel spanking your prophet.
No, I'm telling. Okay, even if I agree with you, okay, Muhammad Prophet, he's a human. So if human can be,
Hold on. What do you mean? What do you mean a human? Who cares if Muhammad is a human or not? Muhammad is a human, but the Quran promised him to be protected from mankind and genie. And now we see that he is not protected. And you agree that he received command from Shaitan.
That's why Gabriel came. That's why he was protected.
What is the protection? So Muhammad now, he received satanic verses and now he's protected?
Yeah, that's why he was protected. Gabriel came. And
No. Gabriel came to spank him, and the whole story is a fabrication. This is Muhammad's story. There's no way all this story happening. What are you talking about? So Muhammad is worshipping the three daughters of God for a couple of weeks, and he did not notice that this is wrong, and yet he claimed that he's a person who believes in Allah alone. How that happened? He is worshipping the three daughters of Allah. Three daughters of Allah. How a person, he claimed that he came. The purpose of him to come is to make people believe in the monotheism religion of Allah. But now he is asking people, he bowed down to them. He bowed down and they bowed down with him.
So this is the case, okay? I'm telling, even in that case, Gabriel came. Eventually he was saved. That verse are no longer there. But Jesus...
Hold on, guys. That verse... Hold on, guys. Did you hear it? That verse is no longer there. So it was there. You see how you got yourself busted? So now there was verses from the Shaitan in your book, and you just said they are no longer there. Now, where are they? Can you tell me?
Yeah, this is the CPU.
Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? The verses of Shaitan now.
They were never included part of the Quran in the first place.
What do you mean? So why the Quran say? Why the Quran saying Allah will delete from the Quran if it's not in the Quran? Isn't it the verse? Abdul, I don't know what kind of IQ Muslims they have. I don't know what kind of food they eat. The verse says Allah will delete from the Quran what Shaitan throw in the Quran. And you are saying to me, it is not in the Quran and it was not there. So Allah will delete something was not there.
It was deleted from the Quran. I mean, our Mus'haf, okay? The written down Quran, it is not there.
So guys, listen carefully. It's not written in the Mus'haf yet. It's not written in the Mus'haf. But no, the Muslim, they say, okay, first of all, we have the verses. It's there. Don't you see? We have exactly what Muhammad said. So the verse is not deleted. Your prophet is God, is stupid. Because if Allah will delete what Shaitan said, so how come we have the story? He did not delete it. It's there. We have exactly what Muhammad said, so the verses are not deleted. Secondly, what is the guarantee? What is the guarantee that Shaitan did not give Muhammad more verses, not only this one? As long he can do it once, like what? He stopped coming again?
So this is the case. First time it showed when the Satan come, he was saved by the Gabriel. So it was the way of telling.
Okay, hold on.
It's the way of telling.
Okay, how we know that this is Jibreel? Because the story is saying that the one who came to Muhammad is someone took the image of Jibreel. This is how Muhammad received the satanic verses. So now, if Shaitan can come in the image of Jibreel, then Shaitan, he can come always in the image of Jibreel. If he can come once, he can come twice, he can come 3 times, he can come 5 times. So now, Muhammad, he himself, he received verses from Shaitan. Shaitan, he come in the image of Jibreel, and Muhammad do not see the difference between the real Jibreel and the fake Jibreel. So now Shaitan, he have the power anytime to come to Muhammad, speak to him as an angel of God. And now we are going to ask you the final question. If Jibreel was able to come once, Shaitan was able to come as angel once, what is the guarantee that Shaitan did not come twice and 3 times as Jibreel?
Okay, let me answer. So, based on the message itself, we can find out. Islam is a religion asked to pray 5 times a day, do charity, don't drink alcohol, don't do fornication. It is the Christians, you do nothing. you drink alcohol, do fornication, but you say you will be saved.
Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay, let us see if this is true or not. Let us see if this is true or not. In the Bible, Jesus said, if somebody, his eye fail him, it's better to unblock it, otherwise he will go to hell. So if a Christian, he do fornication, he will go to hell. He will not go to heaven. If a Christian, he do gambling, he will not go to heaven. If a Christian, he do rape, he is not going to go to heaven. But in your Quran says, Allah forgive all sin except shirk, which means if you are a homosexual, you go to heaven. If you are a person who do drink, you go to heaven. If you are a person who rape, you go to heaven. If you are a child molester, you go to heaven. Is that correct?
No, according to Islam. Okay, imagine.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
Who do fornication?
Listen. Can you show me where in Islam it says if you do fornication, you don't go to heaven?
Yeah. So.
Can you show me? Shut up. Can you show me? I can show you from my Bible that certain kind of people will never enter heaven. Can you show me in your book where it says that if somebody do fornication will not enter heaven?
Okay, so according to our religion, if someone do
don't tell me according to our religion. You are making things. Abdul, listen. Abdul, you are making. Abdul, you are making things up. Abdul, you are making things. You are making things up. I said to you a second ago. Please remember, where we can find in your religion where it says if you do fornication you will not go to heaven.
I told you in Islam, if you do fornication.
Don't tell me in Islam. Don't tell me in Islam. Tell me where. Tell me where. Tell me where in Islam. There's so what the punishment doesn't matter. Still you will go to heaven. And not only that, you're a prophet. He say if you say Bismillah wa bihamdihi 100 times every day, you will enter heaven, and Allah will forgive all your sin, even if they are like the foam of the ocean. Is that correct?
That sin. When we do sin against God, Allah will forgive. When we sin against the human, that human has to forgive.
No. Don't. You see, when you say, okay, listen. I want you to show me where in the Quran it says that if somebody is a drunk, he don't go to heaven. If someone is a fornicator, he don't go to heaven. If someone is a thief, he don't go to heaven. If someone is a homosexual, he don't go to heaven. Can you show me that?
First of all, these for all of them, we have the punishment. So after they get
this is not the question. 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 So you are saying to me, you can fornicate, but there's a punishment, but still you go to heaven, correct, right?
After punishment is done, yeah. Because
see, look at this. So now here we go. This is our Bible. Okay. You know not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God, but be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor a drunken, nor people who do intoxication. Nobody, all of those, they will not go to heaven. Do you see? You lie about Christianity. You said, you Christians, you go fornicate. You Christian, you go to drink. You go. Those are shut up. You apologize for saying lies about Christianity. In Christianity, if you are a fornicator, you don't go to heaven. If you are an adulteress, you're going to go to heaven. Even if you are a drunken, you don't go to heaven. So now I'm asking you. You said that if you get punishment by whipping your back little bit with little belt, and then you are okay to go to heaven. So the heaven of Allah is full of fornicators. The heaven of Jesus have none.
Okay. Now let me answer. The David do not go to heaven. The grandfather of Jesus is not going to heaven because he did fornicate.
Who?
David.
He asked God for forgiveness. No, you see, the difference is no. You see the difference. Shut up. First of all, when I do fornicate, and if I ask God for forgiveness and I do not do it again, then God can forgive me. If I prove that I am repenting. No, but in Islam, you do not need to repent. I asked you the question. I said, if somebody fornicate and he got punished, you said to me, if as long as he got punished, he will go to heaven. So he got punished. He do not need even to repent.
Okay, no, what you can say is, you can fornicate one time. That means you can fornicate one time and God will forgive you.
If you fornicated, you Muslims, you can. Okay, let me ask you: is your prophet a fornicator? Is your prophet a fornicator?
Okay,
is your prophet a fornicator? Is your prophet a fornicator?
You said no. Don't change the topic. Okay, don't change topic. Don't disconnect me.
Okay.
Answer this one. Okay, you said. If you fornicate once, God will forgive you. So all the
no. I did not say if you fornicate once. Read the Bible. It says fornicators, which mean those who they are living the life of fornication, which mean they did not repent, they did not come back to God, and they did not repent totally, not to do it again. So now in Islam, you said. If he got punishment, still he will go to heaven. All what he need to do, get punishment. So he still go. Actually, even if he don't get punishment, still he will go to heaven.
Punishment, man.
Listen.
Punishment is an easy punishment. If you are married, you will be killed. Otherwise,
false. Okay, hold on. Okay, guys. Okay, hold on. Perfect verse. You said if you are married, you will be killed in Islam. Can you show me the verse in the Quran? Can you show me the verse in the Quran?
It is in the hadith. Okay, we have the law. It is in the hadith.
Guys, did you hear it? It is not in the Quran. What happened to it? Huh? What happened to the verse of killing fornicator is married?
So don't change the topic.
I'm not. It is you who mention it. It is you who mention it, and the topic is the preserved word of Allah. You just mentioned if somebody is married, you will be killed. Where we can find this verse in the Quran? Is it true? It was a verse in the. Is it true? It was a verse in the Quran, and the goat ate it.
Why are you changing the topic?
I'm not. It's you who mentioned that, and it is you. It's you who listen. Is it true that the verse of fornicators, married fornicators, eaten by a goat? Yes or no?
There was a narration, but it was according to our tradition. That was replaced. That's when we have that what we say in Arabic.
That was what? What was? That was what? That was what?
No. First of all, look at that verse was abrogated.
How it's abrogated? It's abrogated. It is abrogated. How? What do you mean abrogated? You just said to me that the verse of if somebody he's a married and he have fornication, the punishment is death. And now you are saying to me it's abrogated. So you are quoting for me something you Muslims don't practice no more.
That's the abrogated means there are some many type of abrogation.
Many type. So now we don't. So now guys. So now we don't have the verse. We say there's many type. What do you mean many type? You Muslims have many type.
No, I am telling you.
I am telling you what we have. What we have is that Manat and Allat al-Uzza is your God, and you Muslims are following Satan, and the one who abrogated the verse is not Allah. Show me the proof that Allah abrogated the verse. There's nowhere it says that. The goat ate it, and this is the hadith in front of me. It says the verse of stoning and breastfeeding an adult 10 times was revealed, and the paper was with me under my pillow when the Messenger of Allah died. We were preoccupied with his death, and a time sheep came and ate it. Is that correct?
That verse, that we say that verse was abrogated. The law is still there. So we have.
Hold on. When you say to me, the word is the verse abrogated. Where you get this from? Can you show me? Where you come with this conclusion that this word is abrogated?
That's why after we compiled the Quran, so Uthman.
I'm asking you, where is the command of your prophet to abrogate the verse? You said this is abrogated. Wonderful. Where we can find the command of Allah to abrogate this verse?
The simple reason is this verse was not included in the compilation of Quran.
No, it was in the Quran. It was in the Quran. Listen, it says the verse of stoning. Do you see? It says the verse. The Quran was not a book until it became later a book. Hundreds of years after. Muslims don't have a book until now. Actually, they don't have the book of Uthman, which they claim that Uthman is the one who collected the Quran. So it is a verse. Don't tell me it's not from Quran. It's a verse. And all the Quran now is just verses flying in the air and in the memory of Muslims. So now I'm asking you, the verse which eaten by the goat, where it is.
Okay, that's what I'm telling. I am telling because this was not included in the compilation of Quran, that automatically means this verse was not was there was such a verse that was abrogated.
The refutation of what you said, the refutation of what you said is in front of you, because according to Aisha, this verse is the ones are written. It's in a paper. It's not in a paper. It is in a paper. So now Muhammad, he wrote those verses, and now he is dead. And he is sleeping in the top of the bed, and the Quran underneath of him. The goat, she jumped in the top of the bed, meh, and she flipped Muhammad, who is dead. And then she flipped the Quran pages, and she started flipping the pages of the Quran by her tongue, because this is a very educated goat. And guess what? She chose only certain verses. She did not eat the whole book. Look like she is targeting those because she is jealous from breastfeeding for adult. And let me ask you here, what kind of God he gave his followers a command for women to do breastfeeding for adult?
First of all, answer me. So I will answer that one. Before you answer me, you said if you do fornication, God will forgive one time. That's why God forgave David. You said it. So
I did not say that God forgave David. This is the business of God. I'm not God. Maybe he forgive him, maybe he will send him to hell. I don't care. That's not my business.
Oh, okay.
Listen. Hold on. What I know that David asked God for forgiveness. What I know that David was condemned by God. What I know that God even he made him lose his son, which is from marriage. But because that marriage was bad marriage, he sent the man to go die at war so he can marry the wife. He did not sleep with the women fornicating. He married the women. Yet God, he condemned him. Shut up. God, he condemned. It is in your book, in your religion, David, in your religion. I can show you. Listen. He married this woman, and even if he fornicate, if he is a bad person, he will go to hell. We don't have a like a zucchini and cucumber like in Islam. Like Muhammad, he can do as he wish. Like as an example, your prophet, if his eyes fall into a woman. Listen. Okay, you said. Listen. Worship idols? You Muslims kiss black stone. You are going to go to hell. Actually, the Quran says that every Muslim will go to hell. Is that correct?
Okay, no. First of all,
don't change. Is it true? Is it true that the Quran says every Muslim will go to hell?
What?
Is it true that every Muslim will go to hell?
No.
So why the Quran says so? Hold on. So every Muslim will go to heaven? You just said?
Every Muslim?
He will go to heaven?
After, if the Muslim commit a sin, after getting the punishment, he will eventually end up in heaven.
Thank you very much. Guys, did you hear it? So Islam promotes fornication. What do you mean? What do you mean? You just said. So what a big deal with the punishment? So the heaven of Islam is full of people who did not repent. You commit fornication, you like to fornicate, you go to heaven, still you go to heaven. So in Islam there's no religion. It's just a punishment.
Yeah, after punishment, that is the only way. That is the only way to avoid such a thing.
In Christianity, you are a liar. We don't have a state. In Christianity, we adopt the Bible, and the Bible is our book. So if somebody fornicate, he will be punished. If he is married, he will be killed. Actually, Muhammad is copying the Bible, you idiot. Muhammad, he don't have a Quran. He don't have a religion. He is copying the command from our book. So you're a prophet, he said. They ask him, is it true that if a person, he is a Muslim, if you say Shahada, he will go to heaven even if he commit fornication, even if he's a thief? He said, even if he is a fornicator, even if he's a thief. Is that correct?
I told you, if one was such a people, he will get the punishment. After getting the punishment, he will enter heaven.
Okay, so guys, all right. So guys, he will get the punishment. He will get the punishment. So the punishment is not hell then.
punishment, he will end up in hell. In the hell, he will get the punishment.
No,
Then
you
he will
are
end
a
up
big
in
fat
heaven.
liar. You are a big fat liar, my friend. You are a big fat liar. Your prophet said, not me, that even if you are an adulterer, even if you are a thief, you are going to go to heaven, not to hell. Why you are lying?
That is talking about finally, after getting the punishment.
No, here we go. Don't make things up. Here we go. This is your prophet hadith. You see, Abdul, those things you can say to someone, not me, I'm a Christian prince. Okay, read with me. Okay, read with me. Let us see if you are telling the truth or not.
Yeah, forget about the heaven, man.
No, I don't forget about the heaven. Just hold on. It says here, he said, they asked him about who will go to heaven. He said, please read me carefully. Anyone who say La ilaha illallah and he died. Read carefully. Anyone who say La ilaha illallah, there is no God but the false Allah, and he worship Allah, he will go to heaven. Even if he had committed illegal sexual intercourse and the theft. They asked him, is that true? He said, even if he had committed illegal sexual intercourse and a theft. I said to him, again, he's asking again, really? Even if he had committed illegal sexual intercourse and a theft? He said, even if he had committed illegal sexual intercourse and a theft. I say it for the third time, even if he had committed illegal sexual intercourse and theft. He said, even if he had committed sexual intercourse and theft, in spite of Abu Darda. Do you see it? Which means even if Abu Darda don't like that, you Muslims will go to heaven, fornicators, thieves, scumbag, pirate of the Caribbean. It doesn't matter. Muhammad, he promised you heaven no matter what. As long you see, there's no punishment. There's no punishment. Punishment only if you are caught. Punishment only if somebody saw you. And let me ask you, by the way, how you can prove a fornication of a Muslim?
So this is the case. Okay, see, if you have no knowledge.
Hold on. Let us see who have.
He will be punished here. If he is not caught, he will be punished hereafter.
No, he will never be punished. Hold on. Okay, let me ask. I'm asking you a simple question. How you can prove that a Muslim, he is a fornicator?
Fornicator. If there's any tangible evidence, we have the four witnesses.
What do you mean? Four witnesses. Okay. Is it true that the four witnesses? Is it true that the four witnesses, they have to see the penis of the man going in and out?
Yeah. Yes. Exact same thing they have to see.
Okay. So if your wife is sleeping, listen. So if your wife is sleeping with the neighbor and she is wearing a skirt and she is sitting in the top of him going up and down, excuse my language, there's no proof that she is fornicating because nobody saw the penis. How you can prove that? Anyone then, he will not take off his clothes. They will have sex under the blanket. And when you try to move the blanket, they will move away from each other. And now we did not see the penis going in and out. So how we can prove fornication?
This is the same law from the Old Testament. Old Testament laws.
False. Listen, shut up. Don't lie. You're a prophet. He said they have to see the penis of the man going as the pen going in the inkwell. There's a story of four witnesses. They came to the caliphate. The first one, the caliphate, he asked him, did you see his penis in and out? He said yes. He asked the second one, did you see the penis in and out? He said yes. He asked the third one, did you see the penis going in and out? He said yes. He asked the fourth one. He said, I saw her legs around his neck and they were shaking like the ears of a donkey when he ran. The caliphate, he did beat the four of them because they don't have four witnesses who saw the penis going in and out. And now let us see. You are an Indian Muslim. You came home. You found your wife sleeping with somebody. Is it true that you will ask the guy permission to stay having sex with your wife so you can have time to invite four witnesses to witness him? Is that true?
No, we can have a recording. I can record.
No, you cannot. No, you cannot. You cannot. No, you cannot. Recording is not accepted. This Islam actually against pictures. So don't say recording. Your prophet said for witnesses. Quran say for witnesses. He did not say for recorders.
There was no recording at that time. That's when you had.
That is a fabric. That is a. Okay, hold on. Okay, let us. I will go with you guys. He's trying to escape. He's trying to escape the stupidity. Okay, so you are now exist in the time where there is no recording. Is it true that you are going to ask the guy who is doing boom boom to your wife to do it more, so you have more time to go and fight for witnesses? Yes or no?
Because first of all, I'm telling that the law came because anyone can lie. Anyone can say, if you do not like a woman, you can simply say that woman did fornication. You can lie. So that's why to have a strong evidence, we need for. Even if you escape, you will be punished in here.
Hold on.
Don't need to if you have no punishment, what is your punishment in Christianity?
Hold on. No, we have punishment. The punishment is in the Old Testament. Our book is the Old Testament too, and you are a fraud, liar, like you're a prophet. Our book, the Bible, is not only the gospel. The Bible is the Old Testament too, and fornicator will be punished. But we don't have a state, so we can practice the law. The one is controlling the state is those who don't. Okay. Shut up. So listen. Okay. So now I'm asking you, is it true? Is it true that if you see your wife with somebody, you have to ask the guy who is sleeping with her, please, can you F my wife more so I can go and bring for witnesses?
Okay, in Islam, at least we need to have 4 evidence. In Christianity, no evidence. Even if you show to 1 billion people, no punishment in your religion.
Okay, prove it. There's no punishment. Prove it. Go ahead, prove it. In Christianity, when the church was in control, if you are a person who even do just interest, you will be punished severely. What are you talking about? This is why the Jews, they open banks, because only Jews, they can do that. But now the Christian churches are not the one in charge of the government. So you are a liar again. I'm asking you now. You are trying to avoid. You are trying to avoid. Listen. Is it true? Is it true that if you find your wife was... I can show you the verses all over. Oh, actually, every punishment you have in the Quran is coming from the Bible. Don't you know?
Sorry?
Don't you know that the punishment of fornication is from the Bible, not from Islam?
It is in the Old Testament. Old Testament is not applicable to you.
No, it is. Who said that? You are a liar. You are a big fat liar. The Old Testament is our book, and Jesus said, I came to complete, not to destroy. So Jesus, he came to complete the book, not to destroy the book. You are a fraud like your prophet. So now listen. Why you are trying to avoid the question? Answer the question. Is it true? If you find a man in the top of your wife, is it true you are going to ask him legally to do it longer so you can go and find for witnesses? Yes or no?
I am telling, at least I can punish with 4 witnesses. You can never.
This is not the question. No. The Bible says it clearly. The stoning to death is a verse in the Bible. It cannot be found in any book in the Quran. Is that true?
So why don't you follow it? Why don't you follow the Bible?
We are not in the government. I'm not the king. I'm not the king. We don't have a king. Listen. When the Christianity was in control, the punishment is there. If you are a witch, they will punish you. You will be killed. If you are a fornicator, you will be punished. If you are a thief, you will be punished. Now they have a civil law. Even you Muslim, you don't follow the Quran no more. In Pakistan, you don't have Sharia law. Even in Saudi Arabia, you don't have Sharia law. Even in Iran, they don't have Sharia law. Even Taliban, they have Bachabazi. Even in Iraq, even in Syria, even in Egypt, we're the Muslim who follow Quran. Nobody follow Quran. So you are a hypocrite. My book is here, your book is there, and your book is trying to copy punishment from my book. That's why I'm asking you. Okay, I will ask you now in the front of everybody. According to Quran, what is the punishment of someone doing homosexuality?
He should be killed.
Where the verse we can find it? Okay, I will shave my 25-meter beard if you can find me the verse.
No, it is in the hadith. We have
but okay, so we have in the Bible the verse where it says he will be killed. So now you are saying to me, your God, you don't care for such a matter. I will find, actually, I will prove to you that you are a fraud like your prophet and you do not know your book. In fact, it is in the Quran. There's a punishment, don't you know?
Okay, CP. In the Bible.
No, don't change the topic. What is the punishment in the Quran? What is the punishment in the Quran? What is the punishment in the Quran for someone is a homosexual? Is it true? Is to beat him with sandals?
Kill anyway.
I'm asking you. Don't change topic. Is it true that if somebody is a homosexual in Islam, according to the Quran, you beat him with sandals? That's it. You hurt his feeling.
You have to kill him in any way. So now, according to Christians,
don't tell me you have to kill him anyway. Show me the reference.
I have to go and search that one. Okay.
What do you mean you have to go and search? Hold on. What do you mean you have to go? Do you want me to help you?
No, before that, when you accuse
don't change. Here we go. According to your Quran, chapter 4, verse number 15 and 16, both verses is speaking about homosexuality. Verse number 15 about females having sex together. Verse number 16 is about men having sex together. What is the punishment? We beat them with sandals. The Muslims in the false translation, they say about women and men. No, it says in Arabic clearly, those men of you who do this. Men, the verse before it is for those women of you who do this. So when a man have sex with a man, then this man will be punished by what? By insulting him. This is the Quran. If two men, read for me, chapter 4, it's in the screen. Read for me, please. Chapter 4, verse number 16. Can you read it for us?
If two men having you guilty of lewdness.
Okay, what we will do to them?
So, what is the verse?
What we will do to them?
Punish them both.
What we will do to them? What the punishment?
This punishment is stone them. You can kill them in any way.
Okay, let me get you. You see, you are a liar like your prophet. The punishment is to beat them with sandals. I can prove it. Can you prove me wrong?
That is we have to punish them in any way. We can beat them by sandals.
So now there's no death. So listen, here we go. Chapter 4. This is Allah talking now. So you Muslims, you fabricate, you copy the Bible, the Old Testament, to say we have a penalty, but in Islam, really, there's no penalty for homosexuality. If we go and read the interpretation, this is chapter 4, verse number 16. Read with me. 4:16. Read and laugh. This is your religion. No wonder Saudi Arabia is full of it. Even your prophet, he used to wear his wife's clothes, and he never received Quran except when he wear women clothes, and he be like a woman, and he put eyeliner. Is that true, or I'm making things up? And here we go now. It says, if two of you committed sexual intercourse, two men, then beat them with sandals. Do you know how to read sandals? Read it carefully. Sandals, sandals. Okay, what do you mean at least? What do you mean? Hello?
Punish them with both insult and beatings with sandals, but if they repent of Lord, make them.
So this is that's it. If you beat a gay with sandals, he will get more excited. What do you think? Did you? You know, there is a story of the guy about killing Uthman. I don't know if you know the story. So the guy, he said, one Muslim, he says, if I know who killed Uthman, I'm going to F him. So one of the Muslims, he was listening, and he's a gay. He thought about it. He said, well, I am the one who killed Uthman. Then the Mujahid, he took the guy and he put him underneath of him and he started doing boom boom to him. And the guy from underneath, the other Muslim, he said, if I know this is the penalty of killing Uthman, I would love to kill Uthman every day. Correct? Do you love to kill Uthman every day?
These are not authenticated things, okay?
This is not authentic. So now
we have the punishment. Show me in the Bible we have the punishment. Now we have the punishment. Those people homosexual has to be killed in any way. Okay.
Where have to be killed or way? Show me where they have to be killed. So you have nowhere it says what you are saying. But now if we go to the Bible, here we go. Shut up, here we go. Oh, shut up. Here we go. This is the Bible, this is the Bible, and this is the penalty. Death. Even if a man he lie with animals. So you don't have a penalty for anything. Okay, is it true that according to your Islamic books, if a man he have sex with his mother, there's no penalty?
You know, in your Bible, the Lord sex with his daughter, no punishment. We have the punishment.
Well, first of all, you are stupid, because who's going to punish him? There is no state. Secondly, it's not Lut he have sex with his daughter. Shut up, you stupid idiot. It's not Lut he have sex with his daughter. It is daughters have sex with him. The guy was asleep, and they have sex with him. Hold on. You are so stupid. Who is going to punish them? There's nobody. You are a stupid donkey. Same time, they are the one who did that. Nobody said they are doing good. Nobody said to them that Allah told them that, or the angel Jibril told them that. They are the bad girls. They are the one who did that. You are stupid like your prophet. However, remember, in the time of Lut, there is no punishment. You stupid. In the time of Lut, there was no punishment for anything. You stupid donkey. What are you talking about? So when those people, there's no law, potato. So those, they will be punished by God if they deserve punishment. And even when they have sex, not because they want to have sex. Read there the story, it says that there's nobody, and they fear that they will not have a man, so they can have kids who's going to support them. So they decide to make their father drunk, and they had sex with him. But now, as long as you mention this, what if I show you that according to Islam, you can have sex with your daughter, and not only there's no punishment, it's a blessing from Allah? Do you want to challenge me?
No. First of all, tell me what is the punishment for the daughters of Lot? What is the punishment?
What is Abdul? Who's going to punish them?
Your God is going to punish them.
Okay, God will punish them. So God will punish them the same as many people die. But you are stupid. You are asking me to be punished them physically at that time. But there is no government. Okay, this is stupid. The Bible came after Lot. You are a donkey. What are you talking about? So you are saying to me that the law of Musa is written before Lot?
No need law of Moses. God is there. Can God punish them?
Listen. So now I'm asking you, in front of, let us see who is the stupid. Camel urine drinker, listen. Is it true that the Quran says, وَجَعَلْنَاهُ نَسَبًا وَصِهْرًا? No, we are not. We are talking about having sex with your daughter. Is it true that legally, officially in Islam, you can have sex with your daughter if she is a daughter from adultery? Yes or no?
Why are you changing the topic?
I'm not. It's you. It is you who mentioned. It is you. Who is going to punish them, you donkey? There's no government. God will punish them one day. They die. There's no king. There's no book. There's nothing. You're stupid. Okay, listen. So focus with me. People who do sin, God will punish them, and He will take them to hell. Now, according to your religion, is it true? This is not Lot. This is not. I'm not. You are the one who mentioned it. You are trying to escape. Is it true that you can have sex with your daughter? Yes or no?
It is for your Bible says that.
No, in my Bible it doesn't say that. It says those people, they committed sin. It says those people, they committed sin. The Bible described their sin. The Bible did not encourage and did not say God told them. So you are a liar. But here is your Quran. saying your Quran, potato, your Quran, is it true? Is it your Quran?
God do not tell them what is the punishment.
So they will go to hell. They are just two women. They will be punished one day when God in the day of resurrection. But now I'm asking you, is it true? Is it true in chapter? Is it true in chapter 25, verse number 54? It says that if you have a daughter from fornication, you can F her. Yes or no?
Nothing. First, I will answer that one without.
No, don't. No, you see, I answer you about Lut. It's not the God of Lut who taught the daughter of Lut to have sex with Lut. They are the one who did action. As many people, those are just normal people like everybody. And by the way, Lut for us is not a prophet. It's only for you. If I ask you what is the book of Lut, do you know what is the name? You Muslims are crazy. Everybody is a prophet. So I'm asking you now, what is the punish? What is it true? Is it true? Is it true that you can have sex with your? Is it true? This is not Lut time. This is now. Is it true in the year 2024? If you have a daughter from fornication, you can F her. Yes or no?
I will answer that one.
No, you answer it. No, you answer it. You are the one who mentioned. You see, we don't praise the daughter of Lot for what they did. The Bible never praised them. The Bible report their sin. I'm asking you now. So,
Bible report their sin. Bible never punish them.
Who is going to punish them, you donkey? They are dead. When the Bible, you donkey, when the Bible written, those people are dead long time ago. You are a stupid idiot. How the Bible will punish them? You are a stupid donkey. Listen, according to your Quran, is it true? Is it true? Is it true? See, you are the one who don't want to talk about what you just mentioned. So it turned to be that it's your religion, not my book, encourage Muslims to have sex with their daughters if they are daughters of fornication. Am I lying?
Your poll said you can marry your daughter. Don't you know your poll said you can marry your daughter?
You cannot. You cannot. It is okay. Hold on. Give me a second. Are you willing to take a challenge? You show me where it says you can marry your daughter from the Bible, and I will do the same from your book. Do you agree?
Before that, let me sell this one. If God,
do you agree to take the challenge in the front of everybody? You show me where it says you can marry. Do you agree? Do you agree? Let's make a challenge. Me and you. Take it easy. You show me where it says in my Bible you can marry your daughter, and you will be a winner. And I will show you from your Quran where it says you can F your daughter.
It was before that. Tell me why God did not punish the Lord. Why
who
can punish the homosexual?
Okay.
Why God cannot punish the people?
Who said he did not? Okay, listen. You know, you are saying to me why God did not punish. Well, why God don't punish you now? Why God don't punish all those people? So there's time to be punished. There's millions of people committing fornication every day. There's time. God will punish everybody, and you are stupid. And now we are avoiding what you mentioned. Is it true that your God Allah, you see, why you are trying to avoid the topic? Is it true? Say yes or no. Is it true that you can have sex with daughter from a daughter? Yes or no?
Daughter from daughter, I don't get it.
What do you mean daughter? So you as a Muslim, if you have a daughter from a fornication, is it true you can F her? Yes or no?
No, never.
Okay. In front of everybody, if I show the reference, are you willing to apologize for being a big fat liar?
No, because you can never show it. So
I cannot. Okay, then promise. As long as I can never show it, then you have no worry, guys. He said you cannot never show it. So promise in front of everybody that you will apologize and you will say you are a big fat liar if I show it. Go ahead, say it. As long as you are sure I cannot show it.
You are going to make a big case of it.
I'm asking you, why you don't challenge me? Okay, now I'm not changing the subject. It's you who mentioned having sex with daughters. It turned to be, it is your religion which encourage people to have sex with daughters.
You can never show it. That's why you are.
Listen, are you willing to say in front of everybody that you are a big fat liar and you believe in a religion allow you to have sex with your babies? Yes or no?
You can never show it. So I am going to show you where Paul mentioned.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Listen, okay, everybody will die laughing at you. This is your book. This is your book. Here we go. Let me open it. Everybody will die laughing at you. You are a Abdul and you are a fool. As the rest of you. I never saw Abdul is not a stupid. This is Al-Qurtubi. وَجَعَلْنَاهُ نَسَبًا وَصِهْرًا. Read with me. And I will give you the link if you wish. Hold on. Okay.
This is not from the Quran.
It's not from this is the Quran. This is the interpretation of the Quran. Don't tell me it's not from the Quran.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So what do you mean it's not from the Quran?
Show me the link, man. Show me the link.
Or hold on.
So,
Get ready. You will love it. All right. Open chapter 25, verse number 54, interpretation of Al-Qurtubi. Chapter 25, verse number 54. And I will put it for you in the screen, and I will post the link in this in the chat. And here we go. Let me post the link in the chat. Give me a second.
okay, do it.
And please, guys, open it in Google browser so you can translate. Use Google translation. All right. So now you see it. So now you see it.
Open the Quran. This is the case. You find some mistake in the translation, you change it. It never say anything like that. Why don't you read the Quran?
Abdul, I did read the Quran for you, but you don't understand. I just read وَجَعَلْنَاهُ نَسَبًا وَصِهْرًا. But you are a donkey who do not know how to read your book. It's not my fault. وَهُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ مِنَ الْمَاءِ بَشَرًا فَجَعَلَهُ نَسَبًا وَصِهْرًا وَكَانَ رَبُّكَ قَدِيرًا. So you keep saying to me, read the Quran. I did read the verse 20 times, but you are stupid. You don't understand what I'm saying. This is the verse. I was not reading commercial. Now it says here, حرمت عليكم أمهاتكم وبناتكم بنته ولذلك لم يدخل تحت قوله. It is not considered, as the Quran says, it's forbidden for you to F your mother and your daughter, because his daughter from adultery. She is not considered as his daughter. And this is according to the most accurate opinion of the Ummah, the scholars, and the most correct opinion according to Islam. And if there is no relationship by marriage, then it's not forbidden for him to F his daughter, to fornicate with his daughter or the mother of his daughter. And what is not forbidden from haram, from halal, is not forbidden from haram. And let us read Google translation. Read and laugh at your read and laugh at your religion.
You make it up.
I am not. It's in front of me, and the link in front of us, and you are a potato. I'm not making things up. It's in front of you. Read it carefully. Here it says. Read. Shut up. Don't tell me I'm making it up. I even using Google translation. It says here. It says doesn't go. It doesn't go, therefore, it's not included, and they're saying, your mother and your daughter have been forbidden for you. His daughter, due to adultery, because she is... Show you what?
Give me the Google translation link. I know you change it. So give me the translation.
Open the link yourself and you translate. Here we go. I'm posting the link. Here we go. Open it from your side and use Google translation. What do you mean it's not working?
It's not working.
What do you mean not working?
Ask any of your guys.
Guys, is the link working or not? Is the link working or not? Let me know, guys. Is the link working? Okay, maybe I need to short it. Okay, short link. Hold on. No problem. And remember, you just said, I'm making it up. So yourself, you cannot believe that your religion is so garbage, trashy like this, huh? You just learned. You just learned.
How foolish you are. How
Okay, here we go. Here we go. The link is there. Open it. Open it. Okay, the link is there.
Show me a proper translation.
Okay, it's in front of you. Okay, open it. Here we go. I posted the link. Here we go.
How foolish you are. You're going.
I posted the link. I posted the link.
How stupid you are.
Guys, is it working now? Guys, is it working? Is it working? Is it working? All right, here we go. Everybody open the link. So now use Google Translation and read with me. You see here where it says second? Start from here. Second. Second. Do you see where it says second? You can search for it and you type it. You will find it right away. And here it says that the Almighty saying lineage in law two meaning, including the kinship that exists between two human beings. And then Ibn al-Arabi said the lineage is mean mixing between the water of male and female according to Sharia law. So if it is due to sin, it is an absolute creation and not confirmed lineage. Therefore, it is not included under saying your mother and your daughter have forbidden for you his daughter due to adultery, because she is not his daughter according to the most correct two opinion and according to our scholars, and the more correct of the two opinion of the Islam religion. Therefore, if there is no lineage according to Islamic law, there is no marriage. And then when the adultery, it is not forbidden to have sex between them with the mother and the daughter, because she is not his daughter. Do you see it? And then here it says that the scholars, they differ about if it is permissible for a Muslim to if his daughter.
You are Google Translation.
No, I'm not using Google Translation. I speak Arabic. Google Translation for the ignorant like you who claim that you know your religion. I do not need Google Translation. I'm a person who speaks Arabic. I'm using Google Translation because you are an idiot who pray to God in Arabic, but you don't speak Arabic. And you know what? What about you call a friend of yours and he speak Arabic and let him join us and then he translate for us? Do you agree?
You will call someone whom you know, then you will do the same thing.
I will have mercy on you. I will let you go. You can call me again, no problem. It was fun spanking you. What do you think?
No.
Then read it. Either I give you mercy and I stop spanking you, or you have to tell me why Google saying that. Let us say Google Translation is bad. Okay, give me the correct translation. Listen.
How many times you will
listen.
You go to Google Translation.
Everything we said is recorded. Everything we said is recorded. So if I am lying, you Muslim can get me busted, no problem. Please give me busted, but you cannot. Am I giving you your official Islamic website? Is that Al-Qurtubi? Or what you need to do, okay, do you have Al-Qurtubi in English so you can give me the English translation ready, the correct one, the one you like, so we can show it here? Give me Al-Qurtubi in English. Go ahead.
I don't have it.
All right. Okay, chapter, okay, Al-Qurtubi, page number 15 page, you see, chapter, volume 13, page number 58. Give me the link in English. Go ahead. I don't open link, but you can open first. You post it in the chat, and then people check it out. And if it's good, I will open it myself. Prove me wrong. Everything I'm showing you, this is your Islam. I can show you the same. I can show. Shut up. Prove me that I am lying. I'm giving you Islamic website. This is not my translation. I do not need translation. I am a person who speaks Arabic fluently. It is you who need Google. I use Google only because you don't know Arabic. Otherwise, what about you call any sheikh who speaks Arabic? He can join us right now. Right now.
I told you I don't have English translation.
Okay, I will give you 48 hours to find a sheikh. Is that fair, guys? I will give you 48 hours to find a sheikh to verify what we just read here and call me back. What do you think?
If I come back, then you should give me enough time to speak. That's the case. You always block me. You never let me talk.
I will not block you. Why I block you? I am having fun. You are really funny and fun. You lie, we got you busted. But my hand got hurt from spanking you. My hand, my friend, my hand got tired from spanking you. So you see, it is your religion who approve having sex with your daughter. It is yours. Actually, your prophet have sex with his own son wife, which means she is his daughter. Isn't it your prophet who took Zainab and she is his daughter-in-law? So this is your religion, and your God, doesn't matter. He adopted son that make him his son. Isn't it Muhammad? He said, from now on, everybody be my witness. From now, I am the father of Zaid. Zaid is from me, and I am from Zaid. Isn't it your prophet? He said that. He did not keep his promise. So if he promised that Zaid is his son, that's it. If your friend come to your house and he take your wife, what kind of a man he is? Is it true that Ibn al-Arabi, he said that according to the Sharia, that the prophet, if his eyes fall into a woman, her husband must divorce her so the prophet can F her? I will have mercy on you. I will let you go. What do you think? Okay, then read. Then read for me what. Then read for me what is in the screen. Then read for me. And shame on you not to continue reading. Read for me what is in the screen.
You Google translation, I don't need to read.
Read it. No, you need to read it. I can show you not only this, I can show you that Al-Mazhab al-Hanafi, the one of the biggest Islamic Sunni sect, says there's no penalty for a man who had sex with his mother or his daughter, or even he married them. Do you want me to show you that? Right now, not tomorrow. You are talking to Christian Prince and you are a potato and you've been smoked. You became a mashed potato. Do you want me to add some salt? Or it hurt? Are you calling a friend? What happened to you? You have a heart attack? Hello?
Yeah, give me a second.
Okay, I don't want to hear the mosque stuff. The adhan is playing behind him, the shaitan call. I mean, this is the stupidity. He was jumping like a monkey from place to place. But you cannot play with me. Those things you can do with those Western who know nothing about Islam. But here, we squeeze you until there's no mayonnaise is coming out. It's your religion. Your religion is disgusting to the point you legalize having sex with your daughter. The story of Lut is about two women. They are in the middle of nowhere. And they fear that no man will know them, which means they can't have kids. They need support. They are getting older. The Bible does not endorse them. The Bible did not say that God told them. This is what they did. They were thinking about how they can save themselves. A stupid Abdul, he go and say, you see, in the Bible it says daughter have sex with their father. So what? People commit sin. People do wrong. Here, it is your religion saying to you, you can have sex with your daughter just because she is a daughter out of marriage. Do you see it? Guys, are you saving reference of what we are showing you? I hope you are saving reference. Are we? Did we have good time? I hope so. Are we inviting our friends to join us in Ramble? You see, we just started the channel here, and we are doing better than YouTube. Look at this, you know. Like it was 1,300, now it's 1,200. Yesterday we reached 1,500 because it was weekend maybe. we are doing way better than you two. There we have 155,000, but we don't have like we have almost the same number of view. So here is way better, and here we are free. I don't even have like I don't have 3,000 subscribers now. Yet I have 1,200 watching right now. It doesn't make sense. This YouTube, you know. It's obvious that they play with my work. They are so upset. They are trying to, you know, how we can oppress him, how we can make him upset, how we can make him leave. Okay, you made me leave. I come to a better place. I will beat you nowhere, no matter where I go. Do you see how disgusting this cult is? It turned to be Muhammad receiving satanic verses. This guy from the beginning, he called me. He tried to deny that Muhammad, he spoke for shaitan. And then we gave him reference once after once after once. And then we put it in the screen in front of him. And then what is the excuse? This is Google translation. Can you believe it? Even we show it to him in English. You cannot play with me. Your God cannot. For if the Lord is with me, who could be against me? By the name of the Messiah, we conquer the devil. We conquer his kingdom. We demolish Muhammad. We demolish the Quran. We demolish Allah. We spit at him and we prove that he is nothing but Satan. There's no way that true God will say you can have sex with your daughter just because she is a daughter from adultery. A daughter is a daughter. A daughter is your blood. From fornication, from marriage, it doesn't matter. Only satanic people will believe in such a garbage. A prophet, he is a thief. He is a rapist. He is a child molester. He is everything wrong in this earth. Is it true Muhammad used to sexual things with men? Well, there is many stories, like as example, you know, we don't have clear evidence of what Muhammad he do with men, but we have something weird, like Muhammad and a guy, they are taking off their clothes and they are rubbing the chest and the back to each other. Or Muhammad or the guy kissing the belly of the man kissing his belly too, and he say, oh prophet, this is what I want. What kind of a imagine you are a man and then a person, he start kissing down your belly. He hug you and he go down kissing you. Down. What kind of a behavior this behavior is? We have tons of reference about Muhammad. Read this one as an example. What is this? This is a man sent by God. Abu Abdul Rahman, blah 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 blah, quoting used to in blah 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 blah, a man of Al-Ansar, he said, while he was giving jesting and was talking to people, making them laugh, the Prophet poked him under his ribs with a stick. He said, let me take retaliation. He said, take retaliation. So Muhammad answered him. He said, you are wearing a shirt, but I am not. So the guy is topless, naked. The Prophet then, he raised his shirt and the man embraced him. And the man embraced him and began to kiss his side. In fact, kashhahu is not just the side, is down his belly. And then he said, this is what I wanted. Oh Allah Messenger.
Hello.
Hello, my friend.
Hello.
How are you? So what is the conclusion? Now you can have sex with your daughter, right?
is your Bible says. So I have the link with
You are a liar. You are a liar. You are a liar. You are a liar.
Let me read it. Let me read it from the Bible gateway, okay?
Okay.
So let me read it, okay?
All right.
If anyone thinks he is not treating his daughter properly, and if she is getting along in years, he feels he should out to marry. That says, if you think your daughter is too old or something, you can marry your daughter.
Just shut up. You know, just talk. Just go. People are dying at you. You guys, this verse says you can have sex with your daughter. I mean a Muhammadan, when he lie, aren't you ashamed of what you are just saying?
It is
honestly. Okay, hold on. You see, okay, what is the verse you are reading for us first? What?
I have shared in the link.
No, don't tell me the link. Tell me the name of the chapter and the verse, the book.
It is
I want you.
738, I think.
What?
736.
What 70? What book? What book?
1 Corinthians 7:38.
So 1 Corinthians 7. It says you can marry your daughter.
Yeah, but it's false. Yeah, it is. Go and search on the internet, man. It is there.
Oh no. Okay, no. Hold on. I want you to make a promise. If we put the verses in front of us, and it doesn't say that, do you promise me to open your camera and do the dance of monkey?
This is the case.
No. He make a promise. As long you are sure. So you said 1 Corinthians what? Hello?
7:38. Okay.
Okay. If we put it in the screen, are you willing to open your camera and dance a dance of a monkey if this is not what it says?
Man, go to the footprint.
I will go. I am there. So I'm asking you. You said that those verses saying you can have sex with your daughter, correct?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling.
All right. If this is not what it says, do you promise me to open your camera and to do the dance of monkey?
This is the case. Why?
I have a challenge. Okay, either it says that or it doesn't say that. So if it says that, then why you have nothing to worry about. If it says what you are saying, then there is no problem.
No.
What no?
What you are telling is
no. I want you to show me. I want you to show me where in the verses there it says you can have sex with your daughter. I want to see it.
Yeah, see. So here, you told me in Islam we can do the same thing. You did not show any Quranic verse. You should not show any hadith. You translate and Google Translate. That is someone else telling.
First of all, I did not use Google Translate. I did not use Google Translate. I did not use Google. Shut up. I did not use Google Translation. This is for you. It's you who said to me, give me the link so I can use Google Translation because you're a donkey. And this is not my fault if you don't speak Arabic. Secondly, I can read in Arabic, and this is what it says. Number 3, the verses you gave us have nothing to do with having sex with daughter. You are a big fat liar. Everybody can open right. Everyone can open right now. Everyone open 1 Corinthians chapter number 7 and read the whole chapter where you can find that you can have sex with your daughter. Where do you get this from?
Come to the footnote.
Huh?
Come to the footnote. Bible get that. That's why I told you to share the link. I will share the link. Go to the link. Go to the footnote.
What footnote? What footnote? Listen, we have the verse where it says you can have sex with your daughter.
Okay, same thing. Apply the same standard. Where the Quranic verse says.
No. You see, don't tell me. You see, this is your Muslim website. This is my Bible. In my Bible doesn't say that. And no, this is not. There's nowhere. No, this is a lie. You're lying.
How many times you lied? You said, David. First time you said, David, God forgave David. Then you said, God punished David. You are the one lie. How many times you lied?
Listen, first of all, God punished David already. God punished David already. He destroyed his family. He made his son die, his only son. He made him so sad, and he punished him. Yes, he punished him. This is what the Bible says. However, shut up, don't change topic, don't change topic. I want you to show me, don't change topic. Either you swear by Allah. Listen, you are a big fat liar. I want you to show me, don't change topic, where in the verses you told me to read in the Bible, where it says you can have sex with your daughter. I want to see that.
Go to the, I gave you the link. Go to the footnote. It says.
Footnote of who?
Footnote of the Bible.
Who is the one who made those footnotes?
It is your scholar, Bible Gateway.
Listen. Okay, listen. I want you to, Abdul, listen. I want you to open with me. You said Bible Gateway?
Yeah, Bible Gateway, I told you.
Well, I have Bible Gateway with me in front of me. It doesn't say what you are saying.
Then share it. And,
Here we go. This is Bible Gateway. Where it says what you are saying. Show me where. I'm not seeing anything. Where? What you told me, your 1 Corinthians 7, right? Here we go. This is 7. What footnote? What are you talking about?
Okay, go down.
Okay, go down. Okay, where? Why don't we stop?
Down, man, down.
Where do you want me to stop? Where do you want me to stop? Where? There's nothing. There's nothing. This is the end of the page. This is the end of the page. This is Disney commercial. There's no footnote no more. This is the end of the page. What footnote? Where in the verse it says you can have sex with... Listen, don't lie. Where it says you can have sex with your daughter. Which verse?
Yeah, let me share the link, okay?
Which verse it says you are making things up? Which verse says you can have sex with your daughter?
That is in the footnote. That it says...
This is your fabrication. This is your fabrication. The Bible in front of us. Nowhere here is speaking about anything like this.
Yeah, I have shared the link in the chat. Open it. I have shared the link in the chat. Just open it.
Listen, Abdul. Which verse says you can have sex with your daughter? Can you give me the verse number?
That's all. Already I gave you. Go to the.
I'm asking you which verse number. Which verse number? Because if somebody made a footnote, he have to mention which verse he's talking about. So which verse it says that?
Yeah, it's in the footnote. In the footnote, it mentions 738 or 736.
738.
Oh, 736. It mentions.
Okay.
This is your Bible.
Where he says you can marry your daughter? Oh, show me. Where is the word daughter? What is the word daughter? What is the word? This is 38. This is 38. This is 38. And this is 39. And this is 4. There's no footnote, potato. Same time, where is the word daughter in the story?
Man, I told you go to the.
Where is the word daughter? Where is the word daughter?
I already shared how many times. You never go.
Listen,
down.
You say just go. I mean, if either you apologize right now, otherwise I will hang up on you. Apologize for fabricating a lie. Would you? Would you apologize?
Give you the evidence.
Huh?
Go to the footnote, man.
What?
Why should I apologize? I gave you the evidence.
Okay.
Go to the link. You are not going to the link.
I'm going to the link.
Go to the footnote. I'm
going to the link. Okay. 1 Corinthians 7:8 or withers, if she is getting beyond usual age of marriage, if anyone thinks he is not treating his daughter properly, if she is getting along for years, of her passion are too strong, and he feel she ought marry. This is what the translation? International. First of all, the international translation is a false translation. Secondly, let us read together, even in the footnote. Yeah, it's a false translation. No Christian, because my friend. Hold on. You see, if you go right now, you will see tons of a Christian laughing at this translation. There's verses are gone. There's chapters are gone. There's words are gone. There's sentences are gone. So this is a stupid translation. Have nothing to do with our Bible. This is why. Hold on. Same. We go here. This is their footnote. Okay, hold on. Okay, where it's. Okay, hold on. Shut up. Now, where in the translation here it says that he is going to have sex with his daughter, even in the footnote?
It says you can marry your daughter.
Where it says that? Where it says that? Where it says that?
You are a child?
Where it says? Okay, hold on. Where it says that? I just opened. I just opened.
Not treating his daughter.
Listen.
Okay.
What daughter?
See, if anyone thinks he is not treating his daughter properly and he is getting along in years, he feels he out to marry. He should do as he wants.
To marry who? To marry who?
Marry her daughter.
Where? Hold on. Okay, read for me. What it says.
Okay. And if she is getting along in years, he feels she out to marry.
To marry who?
She out to marry.
Listen, to marry who? Where it says to marry him? Where it says to marry him? The guy to marry the father. Where it says that?
Man, see, and he feels.
Listen. I mean, people are laughing at you. Listen, I'm asking you, please. Can you show me where it says that this daughter she will marry her father?
Don't you see? He should do as he wants.
Where it says she will marry her father? Where it says that? This guy is going to marry his daughter to somebody because she is getting older. Can you show me where it says that this father is going to marry his daughter?
It says, second line, he feels she ought to marry.
To marry who? You stupid. The girl, she is getting older. She's getting in age. And now he offer her for marriage. He is not marrying her. So the girl, she should get married. And this girl, she better find a husband. Nowhere in the verse it says that the father will marry her. And everybody is laughing at you. Look, the chat. Look what you did. Everybody in the chat is dying laughing at you.
No one is laughing. You are the one.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so hold on. Listen, Mr. Footnote. You remind me of a guy. His name is Sheikh Uthman. In front of everybody, if we open interpretation for the verse, you see, I showed you interpretation of Quran. Is it okay to show you interpretation of the Bible and see what this is talking about? Is that all right?
Will show something. This is the interpretation. Footnote is the interpretation.
No, in the footnote, it doesn't say what you are saying. Everybody dying laughing at you. So I'm asking you now. I showed you the interpretation, your Quran saying that you can have sex with your daughter. Now, if we show the interpretation for this, does it say what you are saying? The footnote doesn't say what you are saying. This is your false statement.
So you are telling. So
everybody in the chat, speak English very well. Read English very well, and everybody is laughing at you. So now I'm asking you, if there is any interpretation saying that the Christian man, he can marry his daughter if she's getting older.
Okay, look at the verse. He is not sinning.
Listen, I'm asking you, if there is a single interpretation for this verse, single one. I'm not asking you for 10, just single one. If there's a single interpretation for this verse saying that the Christian man, he can marry his daughter, either you say yes or you say no.
Is clear, then why don't
I'm asking you, this is not, first of all, this is not interpretation. Secondly, it doesn't say what you are saying. To make it clear, we can go and read the interpretation. If any of them say what you are saying, then you are right. If none of them say what you are saying, that means you are a fraud. What do you think?
Here it is clearly telling, man. Why don't you understand?
Listen.
He should let her get married.
Get her married, yes. It's the woman, she is getting old. Maybe the girl, she is taking care of her father. And now he is not allowing her to get married. So the man should let her get married.
Oh, okay. Oh, he should let her marry. Okay. Calm down. in the down say the same thing. It is
Abdul, read with me. Who he marries her, his virgin, second, shut up. Give her out of his family in marriage. This is going out, taken out on account, second clause, here. And then here. The sum of the matter, either to marry one daughter or refuse her in marriage. So the guy, he is refusing to marry her to someone. So he is the Bible says that those people, they should offer their daughter to marriage. She is getting older. You are making things up. You are a potato. All those speaking the same. You see, I'm showing you interpretation one after one. And by the way, I don't care for all this interpretation, by the way, but just to show you, for the sake of argument, I'm showing you that everything you said is absolutely false. This is not about marrying his daughter. He is not letting her get married. She is getting older. So you should let her go. He should let her go. She is a virgin girl. She is getting older. Look how many interpretation. All of those are interpretation. Do you see any one of them says the man marry his daughter? Nowhere.
Okay. Okay, let's do the same thing.
So now apologize for making things up.
No,
what do you think?
Making things up. You never let me show the entire verse. You have the control. You show what is you need to show in the entire sentence. I showed
the footnote you showed us. You told us it doesn't say what you are saying. I showed you the Quran. You said to me this is Google translation. I told you, you translate to me, okay, forget about Google translation. Are you going to translate? No, you will not. So what I will do? So when I show you that you can have sex, okay, now listen. Let us make it simple. When you use Google translation to translate your Quran interpretation, does it say that you can have sex with your daughter? It says that, right? Why in the world Google will say such a thing if it's not there?
Okay, first of all, let's go to that. They have so many tafsir. Ibn Abbas, Jalalain, so Ibn Kathir.
No problem. Okay, no problem. So now if I show you Ibn Abbas and Ibn Kathir and Al-Qurtubi, are you going to agree or you will not?
Just show me.
I just showed you one. You just showed you one. I denied. I want to be sure. If I showed you, what?
It is not English.
What English? Is that my fault that you don't speak Arabic? Secondly, Ibn Kathir in English is not the same Ibn Kathir in Arabic. Don't you know? If you open now any verse in the Quran in Arabic for Ibn Kathir, you will see that the interpretation for the verse is 2-3 pages. If we go to the English, it shrink. The 10 pages become not even half page. So the English translation of Ibn Kathir is not the same Arabic tafsir of Ibn Kathir. Everybody know that.
This is the case.
Okay. Okay, hold on. Okay. Listen. Okay, I want you in front of everybody to promise me that you accept Ibn Kathir. Is that fair? Do you accept Ibn Kathir?
Again, you go to the Google.
No. I'm not going to use Google translation. I promise. I will use Ibn Kathir, your Muslim translation. Do you accept Ibn Kathir? What happened? Say yes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. If I show you Ibn Kathir, do you promise me by Allah you will not deny and you will apologize for being a big fat liar? And you accept whatever Ibn Kathir he says. I'm asking you, if I show you Ibn Kathir, do you promise in front of everybody that whatever Ibn Kathir he say, you accept no matter what? Even if Ibn Kathir prove Islam to be a fabrication, total fabrication, do you promise? Why you are thinking?
Yes, you are playing games.
Why you are thinking? What is taking you to think? What is the problem?
what is the problem? This is the problem because you never show anything.
You said to me, everything I say, I show you in the screen, and you are a liar. Not even a single thing. I said to you, I did not put reference.
Okay, show me the reference.
Listen, when you said to me that let us go to Ibn Kathir about Muhammad receiving satanic verses, didn't I show you Ibn Kathir as your request? And Ibn Kathir says shaitan he cast in his tongue, and then you reject Ibn Kathir. Did you reject Ibn Kathir or not?
I did not reject it. I said he cast into his mind. He did not say that.
What do you mean cast? What do you mean cast into his mind? Ibn Kathir, but Ibn Kathir he did not say cast to his mind. He said cast to his tongue.
So now what your logic is? So
let me go back to zero. If we go to Ibn Kathir, do you promise in front of everybody? It doesn't matter what Ibn Kathir says, you will accept. Do you promise?
No, he's a human. He makes mistakes.
So he's a human and you are a donkey. Don't call me again. So why you are asking me to show you tafsir? Because any tafsir I show you, you will say this is human. Is it your prophet is a human too? He's a human. No, I will not accept his. You see how they play games? They are fraud like their God. Suddenly, in the Bible, it says you can marry your daughter. Suddenly, we are in our book. Are you sure? In the Christian book? In the gospel? I mean, look how sick they are. Very sick. So I showed him that in his book he can have sex with his daughter. Now he want to find something. Now let me search. And then he searched online and somebody says the Christian in this verse says they can marry their daughter. This is false. This is not what the verse is saying. No Christian will accept such a thing. Christianity, my friend, is following Jesus. And Jesus is the Holy Lord. Holiness is the way to heaven. Not sick man like Muhammad. What a sick people. They are willing to fabricate anything. He's a human. Ibn Kathir is a human. Al-Qurtubi is a human. Well, Muhammad is a human too. But that is not an excuse. Why your scholar will say this is what it's meant if it's not what it's meant? When they want, they accept Ibn Kathir. When they want, they don't accept Ibn Kathir because they are like thieves. A thief, he speak about his theft when he speak with his friends who they are thieves like him. A thief, he act as if he is a good man when he see the police. Muslims have many faces. Depend they are speaking to who. Satan is giving Muhammad command, he said. And he claimed that Jesus, he was controlled by Satan too. Do you see how they lie? We ask him where it says that Jesus was controlled by Satan. He could not give us any reference. When Satan, he offered Jesus things, Jesus, he defeated him and he rejected him, and he cast him away. And you will notice, by the way, the story about Satan offering Jesus things. Satan himself is acknowledging that Jesus is Son of God. If you are the Son of God, throw yourself. Not if you are just a prophet. If you are the Son of God. And Jesus did not say, I'm not Son of God. So the same verses they are using is against them. And Jesus never did what Satan want. Here, we have a clear evidence that Muhammad is receiving satanic verses. And he received it from Satan. His name is Al-Abyad. Let me see if I can find the word. Here we go. A devil called the White One came to him in the image of Jibreel. Do you see it, guys? Do you see it? A devil called the White One came to him in the image of Gabriel, peace be upon him, and gave him his words. So he recited it. The first almost 1 hour, this potato coward liar, he was denying that. When the polytheists heard that, they were impressed. So Gabriel, peace be upon him, came and showed him. So he read it. He reached that word. Gabriel, peace be upon him, said, I did not bring you this. Hello?
Hello, CB.
Hey, my friend.
I'm speaking Mohammed from yesterday or for yesterday.
All right.
I was actually wanting calling you because this fool who you're talking to for a couple of minutes is actually, I think, of course. I just wanted to say, I saw the live video, and whatever we're talking about is like actually correct. Was that in Quran actually is.
You know Arabic, correct?
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't say it's not forbidden to have sex with his daughter because she is not forbidden?
Yes, actually, whatever you say is like correct. I know Arabic. That's my mother language.
Yeah.
And what I want to say is like, this fool potato is like, he don't want to speak the truth, or he's a liar. He just keep lying.
Just to let you know, by the way, I have a copyright over the word potato. Over the word potato.
I wanted to say like.
Yeah, but don't copy me. I am the only one can call potato. Like for now, at least. When I die, you can use it. No, I'm just joking.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm joking. You know, actually, I heard a guy is saying. I heard a guy saying to the other guy, potato, and I know right away that he is one of those who listen to me. There's no way. I mean, this potato is coming from me for sure.
I know. You're just keeping you're just keeping a couple of truth, and then he didn't understand. He just wanted to know the truth. He just kept lying.
Yeah. But
actually, in the Bible, it didn't say that's marry his daughter. It didn't say this.
Absolutely, that's false. You know, there's no way. There's no way. No Christian will be Christian if this is what it says. No Christian will believe in Christ if the Christ teaching is saying that. There is no way. And we know that the disciples of Jesus, they are very conservative to the point they paid their life for what they believe. So if we Christian believe that we can have sex with the daughter, so what is Christianity about then?
I don't know. How did you understand this? It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm just reading what you give him. I just reading in Arabic. It's like 100% correct from the Quran and from the Hadith.
Have you heard this? What I showed today before, or this is the first time?
No, at all. I did not.
Yeah. So what do you think about this? You know, I mean, having sex with your daughter just because she's a daughter of. Yeah. Tell me, what do you think?
That's why I'm calling you right now, because you made it clearly, and he didn't want to understand or to believe.
But what do you think when you saw it? As long as this is first time, what you thought, you know, as a person who is born from a Muslim family, what you thought about this? Like, you can have sex with your daughter. What do you think?
I was shocking when you told him like this, and I would see and write it of Arabic, and you told of English. He didn't want to understand, or he didn't want to understand. But I was shocked when I see this.
Yeah.
I didn't know in our religion that's. You can marry your daughter.
Yeah, not marry. No, not marry. Just sex with her. You know, Hanafi. Yeah, here to fornicate with her. It says zina. It's not forbidden to have zina. Yeah, it's not forbidden to have zina.
This is a big problem.
Mut'a is different story. Mut'a is just Yeah. Actually, Hanafi, Hanafi, he said there's no penalty if a man he have sex with his mother or daughter or marry them, either one. If he knew or he don't know, which means if you knew that, because you might marry a woman she do not know she is your daughter, maybe it might happen. But he's saying even if he knew, there's no penalty. Is the link, guys, I posted is working?
Actually, it's not working. I just
no, the link I just the link I just posted now.
Where is it? Actually, I cannot because I'm not signing in the laptop. I was signing in my phone because I think.
Well, people will tell me, because this is the link where it says here about Muhammad receiving satanic verses. The page I'm showing, it's not working. Okay, let me shorten the link.
In my phone it's not working, but I think in laptop or Microsoft it's working, but my phone or iPhone is not working. I was want to go in, but not going.
Yeah, I will shorten the link so you guys can save it, and for you do not need Google Translation because you speak Arabic. Here,
very well. It's my mother language.
Yeah, here where it says that a shaitan, his name is Al-Abyad, came to him and gave him satanic verses in the image of Jibreel. And that story alone is enough to destroy Islam. Why? Because now it's confirmed that Muhammad, he could not recognize who is shaitan and who is the angel.
That's why I'm laughing. He didn't want to know the truth, because actually I see this video before in somebody has his name is like just for a second I forgot his name. It's like Arabic, and he's do a video stuff for why I leave Islam or why I leave Islam. And his name is like Qusay Bitar. Bitar. I think you know him.
No, I never heard of him.
He speak of the Quran, why he left the Islam.
All right, I never heard of this guy
and
before.
Actually, what you said, he said too. What you showed to Abdul, he's like the Qusay Bitar, he just talked like you, and nobody believe him, because the truth is nobody believe it.
Yeah.
That's why the Muslims are so dumb.
Well, this is why we show. This is why we show on the screen, so they cannot lie. You know, we can actually we are showing it on the screen. We are using Google Translation. Still they deny. Imagine, you know. I mean, we are showing it in front of us, and still they say it's not there. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you show him everything, and he just keep lying and keep laughing or keep I don't know. Just keep like his dumb shit. I didn't understand thing.
Yeah. All right, my friend.
I just see all the life, and I'm sorry for you because you did so much thing and didn't believe it.
You know, and this in what we do, you have to have a lot of patience. You know, you lose your voice. You have to repeat the same.
You have a mind.
You will have if you take my place for one day. The first thing you will have a very bad headache, very bad headache.
I know.
You know.
Actually, I was so sorry for you because.
No, don't feel sorry for me. I don't feel bad headache. Trust me. For me, it's because I'm used to this garbage. You know, I mean, and it's normal for me.
I know.
Yeah.
You used to this. Yeah. I know.
Yeah, I'm used to it, and I enjoy the result, because sooner or later, like you know, you yourself, you're an ex-Muslim. Yeah, you know, but me myself, I did fight with many people like you. They in the beginning they get angry, they curse me, they call me names, I shout at them, they shout at me, and then after 6-7 times watching, maybe a month, maybe 2, maybe 3, they bend. Then he called me, he says, you know what? Yeah, he called me, he says, Christian Prince, you know what? I check everything, it was true. I'm out of Islam, you know. So in the beginning they curse me, in the beginning they hate me, in the beginning they spit at you, but then when they go check, because I'm not lying, you know.
Yes.
And everything I say, this is their website. This is all their books. Nothing is mine.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling. You show them everything, and he can believe. He don't want to believe. That's a dumb shit from in the mind. What's he eat? What's in his mind?
Yeah.
It's like shit or what?
Yeah. Well, anyway.
I don't know. Actually, Indian people they keep talking. They keep talking.
But anyway, he think he can escape by like fabricating, saying that in the Bible you can have sex with your daughter, you know, which is very funny.
No.
And you know, like why you see the funny is, even the Muslim, they agree that before Moses there was no law.
No.
And even fasting, as an example, was the Muslim, they forbid pork, right?
Yeah. Then Muslims don't eat pork and then drink alcohol.
Okay. Yeah, but the point is, You go to the Quran, you will find that the Quran says that nothing was forbidden to Israel.
I actually wanted to talk to you about so much things, CB. I have a lot of questions, but I don't know how to answer of English.
All right.
I just want to know. Actually, now Islam is garbage. Like you say, it's like so much stuff. I didn't know actually. I didn't know that Muhammad from Satan is like Ibrahim was, and he's heard about Satan, not about Allah, and so much stuff like dumb shit as Muhammad did it. And I can't believe this the first time, you know. When I saw your videos, it's like I didn't believe what you say. I think that was for me like we want to do funny stuff for Muslims, and when I see your videos and see your lives, I believe whatever you say. You know?
Well, I don't want people to believe whatever I say. I mean, I want people to check what I say.
Check, yeah, I know.
Because remember, there's always people. They might be liars. It's possible. And I am just like anyone. Anyone can be deceived. Anyone can be satanic. It's possible. So I want people to check anything. That's why I don't show myself. I show in the screen what I am saying. This way, people don't say Christian Prince said. No, it is the Quran said. It is the Hadith said. Yeah.
Not you. Yes. I know.
So I check what I say immediately, and I check the fact anyone he says to me. So if a Muslim says something right away, I stop him. Say, so hold on, show me where it says that.
I know that. That's why I keep laughing for Abdul.
Muslims usually they say those things to Christians, and Christians they let them go. They jump over it, and they don't check the fact. When a Muslim he says something,
that's why.
No, he tried to avoid to prove it. Like I asked him show me which verse in the Bible says you can have sex with your daughter. So when he showed us,
it doesn't.
We laugh at him. So he tried to avoid. Yeah, and when we show him his own books, he say, well, this is just Al-Qurtubi, Well, so what if it's Al-Qurtubi? He lost connection.
I'm sorry, connection's bad.
No, it's okay. Yes, you are using the internet of the neighbors.
No, internet. It's like I'm living in Germany and I don't have a Wi-Fi. I just keep my internet from my phone.
All right.
And I share with my laptop.
I'm joking. Yeah, because when I used to be a Muslim prophet, I used to use the internet of the neighbor.
No, not me. Germany,
there is a fatwa.
You will pay a lot of things.
There's a website. I made a video about it a while ago, long time ago. A guy he sent a question. Those websites they ask for fatwa. So he asked the sheikh, "Is it lawful to steal electricity, to heat water, to do ablution?" The sheikh he said yes.
Oh my God, so dumb.
So the guy he is going to steal so he can pray. That's deep.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about this, because so much people Islam that I know, in Germany, like I know so much people in Germany, they keep talking about I'm a Muslim, I don't drink or I don't do this stuff, and I actually in real life he go to parties and they drink with the girls, and after that somebody go to him and you say, you're a Muslim, why do you like stuff like that? And he said like, yeah, maybe I do like a couple of days, or when I actually want.
I like to be for a couple of days not a Muslim, break.
Yeah, no. It just they actually so dumb. They do this stuff and they know that other people that Islam that you cannot do this. And actually he did it, and he said I'm a Muslim, but I can do this and then pray later and then forgiving. They give Islamic is so embarrassed. And so much people I know that do so much stuff like that the drinks and do a lot of stuff, and they say that all the time I'm a Muslim. Well, how Muslim cannot do this? How do you say it? Some people, dumb Muslims, they keep doing this and.
Well, first of all, as you say, all sin is forgiven in Islam except shirk. So all of this garbage. And if you say Bismillah wa bihamdihi 100 times at the end of the day. All your sin is gone. So,
yeah. I know this.
Yeah, so madness.
But I could subhanallah wa Allah akbar. I know. I just before was when I Muslim was, I actually used to do this actually when I finish my prayer and I do this stuff and
you used to pray 5 times a day?
Yes, Allah, yeah.
Man, you wasted a lot of time.
I know. That's why I'm embarrassed right now, because that's my religion. Talk about this
once I went with a bunch of Abdul with me. We weren't hunting, so I had. We have with us Range Rovers and all kind of cars for the field. So there is one of them. He grew a beard and he claimed that he always pray. So we are tired and we slept, and now it is almost 5 a.m. in the morning. So I came to them and I start knocking them in their asses. Hey, Abdul, wake up for a prayer. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And nobody want to wake up. He said, leave us, man, leave us, man. I said, listen, so you guys, you keep saying to me, I pray all day, and now how come you don't pray? They said, now we are in a hunting trip. So what? I'm waking up. Go ahead, go. They don't want to wake up. Lunchtime came. Lunchtime came. I said, hey guys, salah, salah, salah. He said, come on, man, what's wrong with you? You are the Christian guy, and you keep saying that to us. We don't want to pray. But before. They keep talking about yesterday he prayed, he woke up so early in the morning. The teacher asked him, why you don't have did not you do homework? Oh sir, yesterday I was praying, doing like in Ramadan, the supplication.
What actually, can you tell me why actually do Muslim people do Ramadan? I didn't actually understand in this time. Why do people do Ramadan?
supposedly your prayer now is special for Allah.
I know. And actually, they say out to the
you do the Taraweeh, Taraweeh. So this is all supplication time. So supposedly the sky now is open, and your prayer will go there directly. Yeah,
I know.
Anyway, the Muslims usually, especially those who have money, in the month of Ramadan, they go overseas.
In the Mecca, the stone. You talk about the stone a lot, and they say Mecca is destroyed 4 or 5 times, and Allah didn't do anything. That's correct, yeah.
Actually, you can search that in Arabic in YouTube. You will find many videos in Arabic by sheikhs. They are talking about the destruction of the Kaaba.
Yeah, well, I asked myself if 4 or 5 times the Kaaba is destroyed. Why Allah didn't actually,
because it's a fabrication. Because if Allah he send the birds to stop the army, and that army is a Christian army, and at that time the Kaaba was surrounded supposedly by pagan gods, right? So how come Allah send birds to defend the Kaaba when the Kaaba was full of pagan gods, but Allah did not send birds to defend the Kaaba when the Kaaba is surrounded by Muslims only?
Yeah, I know. That's make me a lot of shock.
Yeah, because all the story is a legend, is a for publication. It's not true. And what kind of an army can come all the way from Ethiopia with elephants? An elephant needs 600 liters of water at least a day just to drink. Not to mention the water he needs to spit over his body, otherwise he will die. Elephant, they don't sweat, which means they don't have a natural air condition. This is why in Africa, elephant, they have to jump in the water in order to cool themselves down. So how an army of elephant coming all the way from Ethiopia, coming all the way to Mecca, and there's no river, there's nothing in the way. How they can survive without water? So the whole story is a fabrication.
Oh yeah, no. I didn't know the story, but you told me about this, and new for me.
Yeah, and not only that, those birds, they throw clay, they throw bricks, and those bricks are they are cooked.
Yes, I heard this story. Yes, I can't believe this. I was shocked. Like when I saw your videos on your life and you talk about this, I didn't understand how my religion is talk about this, and Muhammad was like that. I was really shocked. I want actually to tell my family. I want to just share with my family that they don't know what it was we pray for, believe for.
Yeah. Well, what a stupid religion. Anyway, my friend, I better go. My voice is getting tired.
Yeah,
so I want to say thank.
I saw with Abdul, he was fighting.
Yeah, it was fun. Anyway, thank you for calling, and feel free to call us again anytime.
I'm really appreciate, of course, what you do.
Are you trying to read the Bible from time to time, as we agree?
Yes.
All right. Very good.
That's why I'm calling you, and I wanted to hear the stuff. But if you're not tired, we can.
Maybe tomorrow you can call me and tell me more in news.
Yes,
all right, thank you very much.
Thank
all
you
right.
so much, baby. Bye.
Yeah, our friend here is an ex-Muslim. Obviously, he left Islam and he is thinking of converting to Christianity. Not yet, but we hope soon he will become a Christian. Anyway, guys, I think we have enough for today. I wish I can stay longer, but I think today my cough is better than yesterday, right? I think so. So I want to say thank you. As you see, we are enjoying our time here, and please invite your friends, tell them where to find me on Ramble, and let us here conquer the devil kingdom and show everybody why Islam is from the devil. And I hope that all of you will share what you learn here. You see, I'm posting links, I'm sharing everything with you so you can save them. So one day, and you can make note about them. Maybe you can open a document, Word document, and like type your notes, especially if the link is in Arabic. So you know, okay, we need to use Google Translation, but what this link is about. So you can make a note, or even you save it in your favorite, whatever you wish, and you make a note where is going to be saying that and what it's going to say. So later when you need the information, you can find it. For me, I do not need to save it because simply everything is in my head. The problem with the Muslims is they do not know that the Christian Prince, he have all the laundry of Muhammad, all of it. And I do not need to have, you see, I have 0 books on the shelf behind me. Honest to God, I don't even have a shelf behind me. All the books I have them, which is my books. I'm not the one who wrote them, like Ibn Kathir. I have them in the closet, in the shelf there. I don't put them behind me to show that I read books. This is what the Muslims do. When they go live, they have shelves full of books because he want to show that he is educated, you know. He's a guy who knows. I do not have a single book behind me. I don't have a single book in my table. I don't have a single note. I don't. All the laundry of Muhammad is in my head. It takes me 2 seconds to find the panty of Muhammad. Doesn't matter what the color is, because I know it all. How do you recommend to learn Arabic? I have a page in YouTube. It's called Arab for Christ. You can go there and you can learn Arabic for free if you want. I have a series of videos to teach how to read the alphabet, how to connect the alphabet. And then after that, all what you need to do is just memorize words. If you learn how to write, how to read, and the grammar of writing and reading and the alphabet, the left is just to memorize words. You know, like the more words you know, the better for you. Like in English too. So if you want, you can do that and you can, you know, learn. It's for free. I have it. Search for Arab for Christ. Arab number 4 Christ, and you will find it. Yeah. So you know, like the Muslims actually, the reason I start teaching Arabic, because I noticed that the Muslims are using Arabic as a way to convert people to Islam. Like they ask you to come and join us in the class, and then they start poisoning your kids with amazing Quran, when the Quran is the most stupid books, as you see. It's full of mistakes in Arabic. It's full of false Arabic. It's full of gibberish. The grammar is wrong. The writing is wrong. The spelling is wrong. Even the pronunciation is impossible. So, and this is why the Muslims, when they try to play Quran, they bring you someone have a nice voice and they recite the Quran, and this foreigner will be like this is nice, really. I'm hearing the Quran. Wow, this is nice. But the same Quran, ask it for somebody like Mohammed Hijab. Do you remember what Mohammed Hijab, when he recited the Quran to what is guy name? Patterson. Go and see how stupid the recitation. So the same Quran, you give it to someone who have a nice voice, it's going to sound good. You give it to someone who have a bad voice, the Quran will look stupid, right? So they try to impress you by a singing of a Quran, but nobody knows what the Quran is saying. The second you know what it's mean, you will die laughing. It's like You know, when I was in the Middle East, there is songs in English. I hear them. They sound nice, but I didn't know what they are saying. I have no idea what they are saying. They might be even saying the F word. You might say it because you don't speak the language. So if a person, he have a nice voice, like, you know, when I heard Michael Jackson, I was a teenage. Okay, Michael Jackson is singing. His voice is nice. I don't know. You know, the music sounds fine for a teenage. But Michael Jackson, his songs is this. You know, many of them they are really. Or Madonna, the sick Madonna. You know, when you hear, you don't understand what they are saying. You don't know what they are saying. But those are sick people. The second you understand what they are saying, you get disgusted. And this is the same as the Quran. They bring you someone, he have a nice voice, and a person who have a nice voice, doesn't matter what he say, you will like it. Especially you don't understand. Like, you know, when we watch an Indian movie, regardless of the movie, how silly it is, because all Indian movies, I find them silly. You know, like the guy, he's going to meet his girlfriend in a secret place, and he sent a letter with the bird, and nobody knows about the meeting, and the meeting is in the ruin of somewhere, and then when they meet, suddenly there's 20,000 dancers appear. I mean, how in the world this is a secret meeting, and there's 20,000 dancers behind them? But anyway, don't discuss that. But when we listen to the Indian song, it sounds nice, but we don't know what it says. It might be stupid, it might be dirty, it might be good, it might be bad. We don't know. So they try to fool you with the singing when the Quran has empty meaning. Like when Muhammad in the Quran, he come with the, like, you can sleep, you can eat in your dad's house. What is this? What do you mean you can eat in your dad's house? And my brother's house and my mom's house. There's no blame if somebody, he is blind, he eat in his house. If you sing this verse, it will sound good. But if you go and read the meaning, you will die laughing. What kind of God he will say this? Look. What is this? Imagine you make this as a song in English. What about we sing the Quran in English? People would die laughing. But in Arabic, because nobody understands, and those who understand Arabic, they don't dare to question. Who dare? Only us Arabic Christian, we laugh at it. You will be sitting in the bathroom in the Middle East doing your poo-poo, you know, and then the mosque start. And what the heck is that, man? What is this? This is God words? And look at this restriction, by the way. The word restriction is funny. It's not even in the Arabic. If you change the translator, you will see the word destruction and disappear. It is no fault in the blind, nor in born lame, nor the one affected with illness, nor in yourself that you should eat in your houses. What the heck is that, man? So Abdul, your God Allah, he went to his office and he was thinking in the logical manner of, is it okay for a blind man to eat in his house? And after thinking carefully, he said, I think, yeah, a blind man, he can eat in his house. Especially at that time, McDonald's was not open. And KFC. And then the drama continue. Or to eat in the house of your father. Are you serious? So now we need God to tell us that we can eat in the house of our father or the house of your mother. No way. That's getting so deep. Or your brother. Ooh. Things is getting more complicated, brother. I can eat in the house of my brothers. Thank you, Allah. Finally, I need the permission for that. Or in the house of your sister, or your father brother, or your father sisters, or your mother brothers, or your mother sisters, or in the house which the keys in your possession. That's why you cannot give a Muslim the key of your house. If he is a real estate agent, he will eat your food. Never give him the key. That's it. He owned the house. So what? And this is Quran made by God? And there's no blame on you whether you eat in company or separately. What the heck is that? What? This is God? And what the verse here have to do with the verse before it? Or the verse before it? What a mental religion. Oh boy. Obviously, Islam is special. It's special garbage. Hello CP, long time no see, since you two banned me in 2018. All right, my friend, I don't remember your name, but you're welcome. You know, like in the internet, people use nicknames, so you don't have faces or images you do not know. So it's hard to remember people. All right, anyone have a question? If you have any request, please let me know. And if you know a Muslim he would like to debate us, we will be happy to have them. I will try my best to go every day, if I could, unless I feel tired, you know. And yeah, a human being, I'm a human being, I can feel tired too. No blame in a Christian prince if he feel tired, Allah said. I never feel tired from spanking Muhammad and his God, to be honest with you. I love it. You know, even if I'm tired, I feel like I need, it's like a recharge of energy for me when I spank Allah. And, you know, the Muslims, actually I was going to play a video of Mimi Hijab, but the guy called me right away from the beginning, so we could not. It was very funny. Maybe next time. All right, guys, I want to say thank you for being here. May the Lord bless you. And until I see you soon again, God is good, so is Jesus. See you tomorrow, if I could. Subscribe, tell your friends, share the link, and leave your comment. God is good.